right. Well, my dogs are barking because they're so excited. Hey.
We're all so excited. We're all so excited. It's here. It's finally here. Our live event is finally here. Yes. I'm so excited.
Goodness. Welcome, everybody, for tuning in. We already have so many of you watching. We're so happy you're here to kick off our first ever Handmade Collective 3-day virtual event. We have been working so hard behind the scenes to prepare for this. We have so many amazing things in store for you, and our presenters are top-notch. We've got some amazing educators in the community, brands, giveaways, so much to share with you. So
we're happy you're here. The people that we have, like I'm so excited
that I've been following for years.
I'm so excited I can't keep my stuff together.
Yeah,
I missed you. I missed what you said. I'm so excited.
No, it's okay.
I'm even guys out there. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm seeing a lot of like names I've recognized for all of the. I just want to tell y'all that I'm so excited that today I put in the wrong contact lenses. That's how excited I am.
So if she says something like, if she says your name wrong, it's because she's cross-eyed today.
Cross-eyed today. I totally I brought reading glasses because I usually have the one is close and one is far away thing. And this morning I put 2 far aways instead of 1 close, and I thought it was weird. And so I took it out and thought I put the right one in, and I put the wrong one in again. So guys,
we're just a little amped up.
We're so excited that I don't even know how to put my own contact lenses in today. That's what's going on. So we've got Tennessee here. We've got Wyoming here. We've got Florida here. We've got Washington here. Oh my gosh, Texas here. I don't know. I like to Volcano, California. Hopefully that doesn't Arkansas is here. It's been snowing the last couple of days in Utah. And I just want y'all to know that the meetings that we've been having about this event, Bethany's in Tennessee. I'm Melody. I'm in Utah. And we're all fighting the snowstorm to get to the office. And Bethany's sitting outside on her porch with flip-flops on in the sunlight, working yesterday, sunburning during our meetings all day yesterday about the event. So
it's my secret way to convince Caterpillar to move to Tennessee.
Yeah, she's got a plan brewing for that.
Convince them the sunshine is in the south when they're in a snowstorm. Oh my goodness, y'all, look at everybody that's here. Awesome.
We're so excited. We're so excited from all over the country, Pennsylvania, Houston, but no astronauts. Okay. I can't see what Barbara said about the astronauts. That's so funny.
Houston is in the house. No astronauts are with me though. Well, at least our astronauts are back home.
They're back home. At least they're coming back home. Yes.
Did you know
I'm
that
so excited.
The gentleman, there's 2 astronauts. The gentleman that was up there that just got back, he is actually from where I live here in
That's so cool.
And he is a graduate of this college that my son's at. So we've been getting some cool updates about him because of those connections. So we're just glad that we're back home. Really random fun fact of the day. So to get started, because we do have our first presenter coming up is Missy with the little green bean in just a couple of minutes. But
can I just say Missy is the cutest thing?
Love her.
I don't know if she can hear me yet because she's in the background getting ready, but oh my gosh, I've gotten to meet Missy at a couple of shows and she's the best. So I'm so excited for that.
Put her in my pocket and take her everywhere with me.
She's so great.
Yes. Y'all are going to learn some amazing things from Missy in a minute, but we do have a couple things that we want to share with you to kick off this event.
Here we are, day one. Here we are on day one.
Day one. Here we go. Are y'all ready? Now, I will say this before we dive into our presenters. If you don't have a notepad and piece of paper, you're going to want to have that out. You're going to learn so much from our presenters. You're also going to want to jot down any discount codes that they share, any discount codes that we share as Caterpillar. We're all going to be throwing a lot of information at you. So we highly recommend that you have a piece of paper out or your notes app on your phone and jot all of these things down so you can take full advantage of everything you're going to get out of this event today because it's a lot. So we'll do our best to share it all with you. Now, the first thing that I want us to kick off with is you want to share our code, our discount code for Caterpillar, Melody?
Yeah. So this is the deal. So during our live event, so we're here 3 whole days. Oh my gosh, we're here for 3 days. This is going to be so much fun. So we're here for 3 days. So if you go to caterpillar.com, you can use the code March Live. You can get 15% off of all the Caterpillar products, Now, as we go through the day, we're not going to tell you all of the secrets right now, but as we go through the days, we're going to talk about some other specials that are going on. We have figured out a way, and this is just special for this event. We can how does that go? To stack the apart. how does that song go? I won't sing it.
I don't know, but we're going to stack some things.
Stack them. So we'll talk about different specials, and this March live coupon code 15% off. Guys, you can use it, and it will be in addition to some discounts that are on the website. It'll be in addition to some other specials that are going on that we'll talk about throughout the event. So any of the Caterpillar products, extra 15% off. Let's say extra 15% off.
Yeah, because we have some extra deals going on now.
There's
that
another
is watching live, but if
first
you
we want to
registered,
say thank you to those of you who registered as a VIP for our event.
Absolutely.
Thank you to all of you who did that.
Absolutely, and it was free to register. If you registered for this event as a VIP, as we like to call it, because you are very important people to us, we did give you in your email a different discount code to use that'll give you 20% off instead of 15. Now, for those who have not registered yet, there is still time. And let's see, Nathan, let's grab, I'm going to find my mouse real quick and I'll just drop.
Nathan says he'll grab the link.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
He's going to grab the link.
Grab the link and drop it in the chat. If you have not registered for this event as a VIP, it is free to do. But it will as soon as you register, you'll get an automatic email from us. So check your inbox that says you've registered, and here is your different code to use to get 20% off instead of 15. So that was for those who took the time to register. It literally takes 2 seconds. It's free.
Yes.
He just put the code or the link in the chat. So if you want to click on that and go register real quick, you'll still be. So to register, not only does it give you a deeper discount on Caterpillar products, but it also will automatically enter you into our exclusive giveaways from our presenters and brands and our big giveaways from Caterpillar. But we're also going to do some other fun random giveaways. And I feel like now
maybe now's a good time
to introduce you to my wheel. I mean, I bought this just for this event. So we are going to use it and get our money's worth out of the wheel this week. So at any random point, whether you've registered or not, I'm going to spin this wheel and someone that's watching live is going to win something on this wheel. And just so you know, Melody and I went through and put some really sweet goodies on this wheel.
We really did.
Who's ready to spin the win? If you're ready to spin the win,
put a 1 in the chat.
Put number 1 in the chat, and that's your entry, and we'll pick a random winner. So put a number 1 in the chat if you're ready to spin to win, and somebody is going to win. Let's see what they're going to win.
All right, let's spin it. All
right. Someone is about to win the Flip and Fold 48. Flip and Fold 48. That's a big cutting mat. Look at this sucker. Someone is about to win. What a great way to kick off this event. All right.
That's you know what? That's a crazy good, like I just want to tell y'all, when we did when I talk to Bethany too much, I say y'all all the time. But when we were picking out the prizes for the wheel, we were like, let's do some cute little things that we've got going on. This will be great. And then we were like, let's throw a couple of big ones in there. And so we did. And look at that. The first winner is going to win this. The first winner is going to win this.
I'm going to ask Nathan to go through.
This is our foldable, guys. This is our foldable cutting mat. And stay tuned because later in the show, in the live today, we're going to talk some more about about the flip and fold cutting mats. So we are going to pick a random winner. Make sure you email me at melody@caterpillar.com. So jot that down. Make sure you save that because my name is spelled weird and I never found a mug with my name on it at a gas station. Melody with 2 E's, MELODEE @caterpillar.com. Please, please, please make sure you include in your email your name, your address, and what you won. We're going to have so many giveaways going on. There's no way I'm going to remember who won what. So let's make sure that we do that. So Nathan is going to flip through because we've just got a couple of minutes before we're going to start with Missy. So we have a winner. Nathan's chosen a winner randomly. Here we go.
Perfect.
Winner is Edie Frazier. Yay, Edie. Woo.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Edie.
Edie,
okay.
If you could send an email to melody@caterpillar.com. We'll put it back up on the screen again. Jot that email down, address down. So when we're done today, you can send Melody an email and with this information, and she'll send you a flip and fold 48. Congratulations. 48. Y'all, we're going to do that randomly throughout the day. I am so excited for that. Oh my goodness.
We've just got a couple more minutes before our first guest, before Missy shows up. So do you want to just, talk just quickly about all of our guests today? Who's all going to be here really fast?
Yes, that's
Okay, let's
exactly
do
what I
that.
was going to do. All right, so as you know, Missy with the little green bean is going to kick us off with a 30-minute segment on some of our best tips for foundation paper piecing. If you've never tried it, you're just getting started, or you've been doing it a long time like I have, I'm telling you, you're going to learn something from her. She has got some amazing techniques, and she'll even show you how she uses Caterpillar products to make it even easier, which I love because I do the same. Yeah. After Missy, we'll come back, and Jack with Caterpillar is going to give you the official launch of our 2 brand new products, which are hiding behind me so you can't see them. But we are
I have them hiding over here. They're hiding over here also.
Yep. Nobody has. You guys are the first ones to get to see them. We haven't posted them anywhere. You're gonna. They're so good.
And then brand new stuff. We're so excited. Yes.
I know. And then after that, we have Rona. She is going to be joining us for a 1 hour sew along. This is going to be, I am going to be taking notes during her segment, just so you know. It's the perfect points and how to sew curves for quilt blocking and quilt piecing. I am intimidated by curves and I try to avoid them, but I love the look of quilts that have curves. So I will be taking notes. You can go to her blog post on our website to download the free pattern and the sample if you haven't done so already. If you were a VIP, you got that email information directly to you. But if you haven't gotten it yet, you can go over to our website to her blog post and download that. So she's going to be presenting there. Lots to learn. Then we'll come back and do another little fun segment with us. And then last but not least is Gina with Poppy Cotton Fabrics. If you couldn't tell, I am wearing my me-made sweatshirt that has a quilt block on the front with some embroidery, and then I quilted the sleeves, and all of this is from Poppy Cotton's new Home Sweet Home fabric line. I am obsessed, and she has a fun giveaway for you. So does Rona. She has a fun giveaway for you as well. So
and make sure you're here all day long, because we also have a big giveaway at the end of the day. Yes, that we're not going to talk about just yet. So come back at you don't want to miss any of this. You don't want to miss any of this.
I know. So I am dressed on theme today for all of our quilting, and I think we're about ready to get started with Missy. Yes. So I'm going to introduce Missy and welcome her, and you guys give her all the love. And
I'm going to take off, and I'll see you guys back here in a little while.
All right. See you in a little bit. All right. Let's bring Missy on board. Hi, Missy.
Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to flip-flop her real quick.
That's okay. I'm glad you could see me. I was like adjusting the camera, trying all these angles. I'm like, I want to make sure they can see the mat, because that's where the magic happens.
I know. Well, I am so happy you're here. Now, real quick, I do know that you have a special I want to let them know about that you are offering, and then we'll talk about it again at the end. But if anyone wants to get any digital patterns from Missy's website, she's got some amazing things over on her website. I've put it across the bottom of the screen, thelittlegreenbean.com. Love that name. Her discount is Spring 15 for 15% off all of her digital patterns. And that's from today through March 23rd. So through Sunday. So take advantage of that. Jot that down. Remember, I said to have a notepad and pen ready. You're going to get a lot of discount codes and information from us today, from everybody. So jot that down, and then Missy, I'm gonna let you do your thing, and then I'll hop back on at the end, and we'll just wrap up. Okay?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you take it over.
Okay. Well, hello, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So today I'm going to show you foundation paper piecing. And now a lot of people get intimidated by it because, yep, you're sewing on the back of the paper and you're flipping things over, and it can get really confusing. But this is my #1 tip for you, is just think of it as sew by number. Paint by number. You just go in order of the numbers, right? This is the same thing. So don't get hung up on the back side and whatnot in the reverse. And you know what? When I first started doing this, I messed up many times. It's going to happen, but that's okay. That's just how we learn. So don't feel bad if you mess it up. Now, I am making this watering can block. I don't know that we'll get it all done in this 30-minute segment, but we're going to do our best. So here is the block that we're making. It's a watering can, and what you can do, this is a 6x6 finished block. When you're all done, you can sew it into a cute pouch, a wall hanging, a quilt, whatever you want to make with it, a fun little spring handbag, and then you can quilt it, and it just looks so cute when it's all done. So I have already cut up my pieces from the pattern. Like, in the back, you'll get the template. And this pattern is available on our website under sewing patterns and then under paper piecing patterns. And so I've got all of these different sections. And some paper piecing things are just one big piece, but some are done in sections where you have to then sew the sections together. Just go in order. And you can start literally with A and then work B, C, D, E, the whole thing. I'm going to start with C, and it doesn't matter which one you start with. The biggest thing when you pick one to start with is you start with number 1, and then you go to number 2, and then 3, 4, and so on. You just follow the numbers. So we're going to start with this piece of paper face up. And now I've got my Caterpillar cutting mat. Now, let me just tell you a little story here, how I discovered Caterpillar. I was shopping at Missouri Star Quilt Company a couple years ago now. And, I've been doing paper piecing for a while. And I saw this cutting mat. And I said to my husband, this light table is what I saw. And then I saw the cutting mat on top of it. And I was like, okay, that's brilliant. That is so brilliant, but I don't need it. I have a light table. I have a cutting mat. I can use them separately like I've been doing. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, no, I can't go home without it. I've never used that other light table again. It's been in a drawer for 2 years. It's time for me to donate that thing because I love the Caterpillar ones so much. I'm using the big guy right now. And I love this for paper piecing because I've got room to spread out. It's got options for the cutting mat itself. I'm using the one without grid lines. They have with or without. And for paper piecing, you can use either one, but I really love this one without. So the light table is under here, and then the cutting mat is on top. And I use this for so much more than paper piecing, though. I kind of have this on my counter all the time. And then I also have the mini, and that's just right over here. Those are the two I use the most, the big one and the mini, because the mini is portable and I can take it with in the car. I can have it on my lap. I can use it for all kinds of other projects. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you how to do this paper piecing. So it doesn't matter what you have for fabric. If you have big pieces, little scrappy pieces, you're just going to cut whatever piece you want to start with. So this is going to be our number 1 piece, right? And I'm not measuring. The biggest thing is when you hold it up, and when you've got it on your cutting mat here, I can see through my paper and the fabric, so I know where I'm lining it up. But we're going to be sewing on the back. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to set this over the C1 segment. And the biggest thing I want to make sure is that my fabric is covering all the lines, okay? And we're going to sew C2 onto C1. So I'm going to cut another piece. Let's go with this cute purple, and I'm just going to cut a strip. Again, you don't need to measure anything. And now what I'm going to do is I can see where the C1, you want to sew on the line that's between C1 and C2. So I'm lining up this piece of fabric at least 1/4 inch beyond that line for C1 and C2. And then I'm going to put this other piece of fabric right on the top. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's perfect. As long as it's exceeding that line is all that really matters. So I'm just going to hold it like this and flip it over. And now I can see where I want to sew. I'm going to sew from this point to this point. Okay. Now, when you're sewing, the biggest thing is shorten up your stitch length to about a 1 to a 1.5. The shorter your stitch length, the easier it is to tear the paper off when you're all done. Okay. So now you can see that I have sewn right on that line, and I've got my fabric is stitched to the fabric on the back side. Then what you're going to do is fold back where you stitched. Now you can use this ruler. This is called add a quarter ruler. This has got a built-in 1/4 inch lip right here. This is made for foundation paper piecing, and it will line up right along where you folded that edge. And then you just trim off any excess so that you don't get too much built up in there. And then you fold your paper back. Now you flip it back over, and then you finger press this open. You might want to use some sort of finger pressing tool. I have a bunch. I have rollers and all kinds of different things. So we're just going to press that open. And now we're going to go to C3, which is this one right below it. So I'm going to turn this around, and sometimes what I'll do is, so now we're going to sew on the line between C1 and C3. So sometimes, just so I can see where everything is, I will crease it with my fingers along the line. So then I've got just a little bit of a crease in the fabric. So I know that I want my next piece of fabric, I have to line it up above that crease because that's the line where we're going to be sewing. So then I'm going to lay that about 1/4 inch above that line, and then just hold it in place, and then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to sew right between C1 and C3. And I do back stitch at the beginning and the end. Okay, so now that's what it looks like on the back. So then you're going to fold the paper back where you stitched. Use, if you don't have an add-a-quarter ruler, this is a nice to have. It is not a must have. You can use any acrylic ruler. You just want to leave 1/4 inch beyond that folded paper seam. So now we trimmed off the excess. We're going to open the paper back up like that. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fold it down and finger press. If you have the glass cutting mat, you can iron right on that if you want to, but you can't cut on it with your rotary cutter. Just keep that in mind. All right, so that is, we've done C1, C2, and C3. So next up is C4. It's right up here. So I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to fold back and make a crease where that line is, our sewing line. I'm going to cut another piece of fabric. Now this is the last piece on the top, and you can see there is a solid line and a dotted line. The dotted line is where we're going to cut it all out. So you want your fabric to at least cover up that dotted line, and we're going to trim off any excess. So don't worry about it being bigger. You just don't want it to be too small. So I used to always try to get the skimpiest little scraps to fit in these spaces. And then I would miss the seam allowance, or I didn't leave myself enough. So I always cut bigger than what I think I'm going to need. So there, we've got that laying down. Now we're going to, again, flip it over to the front, and you can just hold it with your fingers. Now, here's a little tip. Do I have one handy? I don't. But if holding this is too much, if you just don't like doing that, you could use a pin, and you could pin your fabric in there so that you don't have to hold it. But the other thing that works even better than a pin is a glue stick. Just use a fabric glue stick if you want to hold everything down. I just use my fingers. I've been doing it for a while, but if you need something to kind of help you get used to it, you can try that trick. So now I am folding, or I'm sewing along C2 and C4. And I don't use a special needle. Sewing through the paper will dull your needle, but I just use a needle, and I just change my needles whenever I need to. Some people will have a separate needle that they use just for paper piecing. I'll never be able to keep track of it. So I just sew with my needle until I need to change it out. So there we've sewn, and now again, fold back on the line you sewed. So you can see the steps are all the same, and the steps are the same no matter what your pattern is. So it doesn't matter the size, the shape, you always just sew in order of the numbers. And you fold it back, you trim, you finger press, and you keep moving on. All right, so we've got one more piece for this segment here, which is C5. So you can see what it's starting to look like. And I want to make sure it's going to cover up all of those edges, which it is. I'm going to fold this back along the seam. Although this purple is pretty light, I can see through it pretty well. Going to line that up. So again, we're holding it, flipping it over, and we're going to sew that line. Right, so we've sewn that in place. Now we're going to fold back the paper. We're going to go ahead and trim off that excess. And we'll open it up. And this is the center of that watering can. So that's what the center looks like. So now this is the back side. So you can either set this aside and keep sewing your other pieces until you're done with all of them, or you can trim off the excess, and you trim around that dotted line, not the solid line. And this, for this, you just trim right through the paper and all of the excess fabric. And then you're going to start to see your shapes come to life a little bit. Okay, so this is the center of the watering can, and you've got all your lines still on there. You don't tear the paper off just yet. So now we're going to work on, you can do either one. We're going to do E. And this has only got three little segments. So the biggest thing here for E is you want to know what pieces you're sewing. And the pattern is colored in, so you can see what pieces are print and what pieces should be more of a solid or something with just a more subtle background. So I'm again going to start with E1. And this is a pretty small piece here. So flip over your paper so your numbers are on the back, and then line that up. Make sure all of the lines are covered. Now we need E2 and E3. Now I want them to be, those are white. I'm like, wait a minute, they're not printed. I'm just using just a white fabric for the other pieces because I really want the watering can to be the star of the show. I want it to stand out. So again, you can fold back and crease it so you know where the line is. Let's see, I'm going to make sure though that this covers all of that up. I'm going to use I need a bigger piece here. We're just going to hold those together, flip it over, bring it to the sewing machine, and sew on that line between E1 and E2. And we'll just continue that process. Keep bumping the, the light here. Oh, it does not want to come back on. There we go. Now, if you guys do have questions, you can put them in the chat, and Bethany, when she comes back, can she can see those, so we can be asking those questions. We can hopefully get you some answers before we're all done today. I think the biggest thing for people is just getting your head wrapped around that you're working on the back and you flip it over to the front to sew. But once you get that figured out, it's so easy. All right. Okay, so this is all we needed for this segment. This little piece is already done. So we're going to trim off the excess here. And in our pattern, it walks you through step by step what order to sew these together and how to assemble your watering can once you're all done with all of the pieces. I save the bigger scraps and I toss the smaller ones that I probably will never use. So this is that next piece. This is the arm spout, or not the arm, but the spout of the watering can is starting to come to life. That's going to go right on that side. So we're going to do the next piece of the watering can. And the only piece that's in color, again, for me, is this F1. So it's just a little piece that I'm going to show you again. The finished watering can. So you can see what area I'm working on, this little arm right here, right now. And a lot of times when you look at English paper or foundation paper piecing and you see these patterns and it looks intimidating because there's all these little tiny pieces, but you're not really working with pieces that are that small. You know, you can see how small F1 here, and I'm starting with a piece this big. Okay, we're going to go to F2. Okay, we're going to flip it over, stitch. I don't have much excess to trim on this one at all. There's just a little bit there. And it is important that you go in order because otherwise things won't necessarily sew down the right way. Like if I would have done F3 before F2, the intersections would not have worked out like they need to. These take a little bit of time to design, but once I figure that out, that's a really fun part for me. It's like a really fun challenge when I put these patterns together and design them. Okay, so we're going to do F3. And don't worry about any of the other excess that's hanging off. Like I have a lot of excess on this piece. That will all get trimmed out later. All right, one more piece here. And it doesn't even matter if your pieces are straight. You just need it to cover up the area that you're working on. And don't worry about the rest. And if you're sewing at an angle, you want to make sure it's wide enough that it's going to cover the area once it folds back down. So sometimes if I'm working on any angles, I will use a piece much bigger than what I think I'm going to need just to make sure I have enough excess to cover up all of the area that I want to make sure it covers. All right, now that we've opened that up, everything we need to is covered, but barely. I'll tell you on that. On this one, it's really close, but it's going to work just fine. So now I'm going to trim off the excess, and then I'm going to show you how to put these pieces together. And like I said, once you learn foundation paper piecing and you get comfortable, it's really easy to wrap your head around any pattern. But those first couple, they do take a little bit to just, you kind of have to sit and think for a minute about what you're doing just to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Because I know it gets a little weird when you think about you're working on the back and flipping it to the front. I think that's the most confusing part for people. but once it clicks, it clicks. So here is the other little tiny piece. It's the little spout for the watering can. So now I'm going to just take F and E, and I'm going to put these together. What you're doing now, because we've trimmed off the excess, so you're just lining the two pieces up right sides together. And I'm going to use my clips here. I'm just going to clip so they don't move. Okay, so then you clip it together and you're going to sew along the solid line. Okay, so now we've sewn these two pieces together. I don't know why my table just shut off. And then you open it up and now you can see the little watering can spout, and then you've got your paper pieces in the back. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to line it up with the watering can base. And again, just line up those edges. And I always just kind of flip it over to make sure everything looks good. And then you're going to just open it up, and now we're starting to see a watering can come together. The next part is D, and that is the handle. There are a lot of teeny tiny pieces in D, but again, you just start with D1, and that is a white piece, or solid, or something that is a nice contrast to whatever you're working with.
Hey, Missy.
Oh God.
I didn't mean to sneak up on you. Oh, I'm so sorry. We've had so many questions.
Man, I'm the jumpiest person ever.
Well, good to know. I tried to just sneak in at a stopping point. We have so many questions, and I want to make sure we have time to answer some of them.
Let's answer questions.
Okay. I told them in the chat that I was taking notes.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go in order real quick.
Yeah.
The first question is, what stitch length do you choose to set your machine to?
Mine's at about a 1.5 right now. I mean,
Same.
You guys, this is the thing. There are no rules. Do whatever works best for you. And I just find anywhere between 1 to 1.5 is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't precisely put it on 1.5. I just go somewhere between 1 and 1.5, and it's good enough. Because the smaller your stitches are together, or the closer they are together, the easier it is to tear this off when you're all done. If your stitches are too wide, these don't want to tear as nicely. But now that I've done little teeny tiny stitches, you can see it just tears away really easily. And I'm using regular printer paper from my printer that I buy at Costco.
Is what are you printing on? Anything special? I know there's special FPP paper out there, but I too just use regular printer paper.
And I tested it because I like to test things. I like to try everything. And so I bought foundation paper piecing paper, and I didn't find that it worked any differently than just regular old copy paper. So save your money for fabric and Caterpillar tools and just buy printer paper. That's all you need.
Someone else asked if you backstitch when you're doing your lines across there.
Yes, you always backstitch at the beginning and the end because you want those stitches to hold, especially when you're tearing. So definitely you want to backstitch.
Sections together.
Yeah. Because right now I'm just like, as we're talking, I'm just casually tearing these pieces off, and they're tearing so easily. Like each little section is just coming off beautifully. Yeah. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes they just tear. Sometimes, especially when you get into, like, if we got into this D, there's all those little pieces. You might need a tweezer to get some of those little pieces out of there. But a lot of people find this really relaxing to just sit and tear the paper off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked, you had pinned a fabric together if you aren't easy, if it's hard to hold it in place until you get to your machine. But someone said, can I just use a glue stick and glue based?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, you still need to sew it together though.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can glue base, but yes, yep, you still have to
just
sew.
to get it to your machine so it doesn't shift on you.
Absolutely. That's a great idea.
The last thing I wanted to kind of call out, we had a lot of questions about the light board that you're using. So Missy's using our ultra size light board. It's our biggest light board.
It's
now
the best.
You have the mat on it that is non-gridded. It just has the border grid that is sold separately, but it comes with a gridded mat that's the same size. So you could get both if you want. It comes with the gridded one, which she's going to hold up right here so you can see and line up things. These are translucent and self-healing cutting mats. So you can use the light boards without a mat to trace and do those kind of things. You can put one of our translucent cutting mats on top to be able to cut on top of it. And you can also get the tempered glass mat, which I have here. And this allows you to iron right onto this.
Which
and you
I love.
Set this up on like half of your Ultra, because it's about half the size of the Ultra, and your cutting mat on the other side. So you could split your Ultra in half, but this is the size of our premium and basic board. And so you could have one side for cutting, one side for pressing.
Yeah.
So as you're doing foundation paper piecing or applique or so many other things, you can really set up a really nice workstation.
Yeah, you really can.
So
it's so easy.
This is pressing, not cutting.
Yes.
It will dull your blades if you cut on this. And it's slippery. You don't really want to cut on this.
But I love that it has the feet. So it's slippery on the top, but once you put it down, it's not going to move around on you while you're ironing. Exactly. So that's a really nice feature.
So I just wanted to clarify that for those who are new to seeing the light boards in action, what they do. We have someone said, can I bundle things? I'm like, we have a lot of amazing bundles over on our website that are curated in the sense of like which one of our products go well together. And so there is a bundle with all of these in there. And we're going to be going over all of these bundles today, tomorrow, and the next day as well. So stay tuned to learn more about that. I also, real quick, wanted to remind everybody, because we had some questions about where they can get your watering can pattern.
Yeah. It's on my website, thelittlegreenbean.com. And if you go to, there's categories at the top. If you just go to shop and then sewing patterns, then sewing patterns are all categorized for you as well.
Awesome. And then you can use her code SPRING15 for an extra 15% off all of her digital patterns from today through the 23rd.
Yeah.
So be sure to write that down with her website. I dropped it in the chat a few times as well. Missy, thank you.
You're welcome.
Was amazing. Everybody was so excited to just like start diving into FPP. Some have done it. Some are scared to try it. Some feel like they can try it now. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And I'm just telling everyone, just try it, because you don't know until you try. And you're probably going to mess up the first couple times, because we all do, because that's how we learn. And so that's okay. Just print out a couple extra patterns and don't use your favorite fabric for the first one.
No.
Just use some scraps just until you really like get the hang of it and you're like, oh, okay, I totally get this now, because it really is a different way of thinking. Like, but once your brain is like, oh, now I get it.
Light bulb.
it totally is one of those moments, but then you have it. And then you can do any foundation paper piecing pattern that you want. I mean, it's so much fun. And I know these little tiny pieces look so intimidating. And before I even knew what foundation paper piecing was, I'm like, how are these people working with such small pieces all the time? I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to do it. I'm like, oh, this is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And it was
so addicting.
It's so addicting because it's so much fun. And it just like, I just love how quickly this came together and how you can get so much detail, but don't talk yourself out of something because you think it's going to be hard. Just try it. Just try it.
I love this because I don't have the patience for cutting all of the specific precise pieces for quilting. And so to be able to create a quilted design without having to cut all the pieces, and I can kind of scrap as I go. It saves me so much time. And then I actually I can get to the sewing part faster. So
yeah, for sure. Because you don't have to be precise.
No. Awesome. Okay. Well, this was great. Thank you for kicking off our event with an amazing
this was so fun. Thank you for
no,
having me. And I love your sweatshirt, and I'm very impatiently waiting for the tutorial.
it'll be on my YouTube next week. I promise.
Oh, yeah.
I promise. I'm working so hard on it. This part is already on my YouTube, this quilt block.
Okay.
For the sleeves or an added bonus, and I'm editing that video right now. So thank you for asking.
I can't wait to see it.
I am on theme today with all the quilting and stuff.
You sure are. You look adorable.
Thank you. Everybody say thank you to Missy. We appreciate her being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds great. Thanks, you guys.
Oh my goodness. That was so much fun. You guys learned so much. I even wrote down some notes myself. I am so grateful for Missy and her time. We have an exciting segment coming up next. I'm excited to pass over to Jack back at our Caterpillar studio. Let's see if we can get Jack up on the screen. Let's see here. Hey, Jack. Let's unmute you there. Hey, hold on. Let me unmute. It's not unmuting. Hold on. Oh, you have to unmute yourself. So whoever's in the studio,
there we go.
There you go.
I was going to say, hey, whose idea was it to put me behind Missy? That's like me following Taylor Swift, you know?
I know, right?
Time to tune out.
Guilty. Well, I mean, it's because what you are about to demonstrate is our brand new products.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who had a lot of questions about our Caterpillar light boards during Missy's segment, what is that light board? How do I get one? Well, I'm excited to let you guys know that we have not one, but two new light boards that we are launching today with you live, and they are available on our website. So Jack's going to walk you through all of the features, the upgrades that we've made. This is truly feedback that we got from our customers,
right,
of how we could make our products better. And we always listen to you. And so you're going to get a full demo on these products. And then I'll check back in at the end, Jack, and maybe share some questions. I may pop
in fact, people tuning in, I would love questions. So anything that catches your fancy, that you don't quite understand, you want to hear about, please let me know. And Bethy and I will do our best at the end to answer.
So Sue just said, 2 new ones. Yes, Sue.
Yeah.
Yes, Sue. Get excited. He's kind of got him laying right there.
I do.
In front
Yeah.
of him.
They're very deceptive. What's new about them?
Hold on. I'm going to show you. Both of mine arrived yesterday in the nick of time. Here's one. And here's the other. I love our packaging. Jack, you do a great job on all of this, by the way. It comes with a nice little handle.
We made it a little bit smaller, the packaging, so it's a little easier to
get it. But we have a lot to go over on these, and then I will just pop up any questions up on the screen. So just look for those, and then I'll pop on at the end, and maybe we can do a little spin to win.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
All right. I'm going to pass it over to you.
That's how you have to tempt them. You have to bribe them to stay through my segment. Okay. Thank you, Bethany. Welcome to Caterpillar Studios. Caterpillar Studios is also headquarters to our little lab here where we create new products. And this is the first time we've ever been able to really debut a product kind of live like this, which is kind of fun. Normally I have to wait to, go to Houston and do it 200 times over 4 days. So I get to do it once. Mass communicating is what we're doing. So let's tell you a little bit of a history about the light boards. First of all, before we can talk about why and how we changed them. We started making the light boards back in 2016 when we realized that this is a terrible epiphany, but that people like to see what they're doing. That's a joke, but there's some truth to it because in our shop, we had a light table. It was a big expensive light table, a couple $1,000 that the light came through. And one day my brother says, the LED revolution is upon us. This is, again, 2016. Says it'd be very cool if we could shrink these down into a much more usable size. And so that was the first thing we did. Is let's make these smaller and lighter and thinner. We're a little bit heavier than the last model, and you'll find out why. But still under 3 pounds, 3/8 of an inch thick, super light and portable. That's really the key there. But the real epiphany, and I got to give my brother all the credit on this, is he realized that this space is great. It lights up and does your tracing and your transfers. But really, that's where the usefulness ends. And what he thought is, say, how cool would it be if we could cut on top of the light? And that was the game changer. And back in 2015, when we were developing this, you could not get a mat like this. It didn't exist. No, there was no reason for a PVC self-healing cutting mat to be translucent. What was the purpose? So we found a company that developed this for us, the right amount of translucency and the right amount of durability. And from there, we've just made it better and better and better over the years. So that's a little bit of the history behind them. Since 2016, we started with one model, our basic, and then we moved up into different models. And now we have 5 different models, soon to be 6, actually. So let's tell you a little bit about what we've done differently and why. So when we said we're going to be demonstrating them, unfortunately, I'm not like Missy. I'm not going to be showing you all of the beauties of paper piecing and that. We're going to do some cold, hard R&D facts here, research and development facts. But I think it's kind of fun. It's fun to me. So, and if you met me at a show and see me at a show, I can easily go down that rabbit hole and start telling you all that stuff. But I get to do it today, and no one can stop me. I've got you for 20 minutes. And in the end, by the way, we are going to give away something at the end of the show. So let's talk about the boards themselves a little bit, what we've done differently. Okay. So if you've ever seen one of our new minis, that's what really got the ball rolling on the big design change. The mini last year, which I don't think I have one here. Oh, I do. Here we go. We made this last year, and we did something different than anybody else out there had done. Most of our light boards are made out of acrylic, and these are made out of acrylic too, but these are layers of acrylic, right? You've got the top layer, you've got the middle layer, and you've got the bottom plastic layer. It's all laminated, and it works spectacularly. But we thought we can do better. And when I say better, what we're talking about is longevity of the product and having it be more useful. Now, I need to tell you a little bit about my philosophy with making a better product. Every September when the new iPhone comes out or the new Samsung comes out, we all look at our phones and we go, oh, there's this new one. I want the features. It doesn't make our original phone that worse any less, but it does make us want the new features. That's kind of how I look at it here. If you already have a light board, certainly don't feel bad about seeing this new one and having these new features. But we just can't help ourselves. When we see something that can be improved, we like to improve it. One of the things about the laminated boards is over time is they would, one of the problems we would have is right here. I'm doing my own special effects today. Is right here is our plug, right? And it's a USB-C plug. We upgraded a few years ago. Well, over the years, we found this is kind of a danger point, not a danger point, but a point where it can get damaged. And the reason why is when, your husband in his big clunky boots walks by and he trips over the cord, and he sometimes can delaminate the board if it's sticking out. And so that was one of the issues we wanted to solve long-term. So your husband can't ruin any more of your things. But no, that was an issue. And I've done it a dozen times myself behind the booth at a quilt show. I'll step on this or trip over it, and I would damage the board. So we did something I think was pretty radical. We did the same thing with the mini, and now we've done it on a larger scale, which is we've molded the base. So this is molded like an iPad. And you can see, now this is a molded port. So no matter how many times you trip over that cord, it is not going to hurt the laminate. It's not going to do any damage here. This thing is basically bomb-proof now. It's not any heavier because of the plastic. By the way, it's the exact same size as the old ones. But now it has this laminated base. And so not only does the laminated base protect here at the port, but it also allows you to use it places you would maybe not be able to take it and put it in that suitcase. This fits in a carry-on, by the way. It fits right into a carry-on. So being able to take it, being able to use it on your lap, being able to use it in different spots, that is one of the reasons why we laminated it. So first of all, let's introduce you to the models. Boy, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The 2 new models we made is the Glow. We used to call this one the Glow Basic. Can anyone tell me why that's a terrible name? Let's see in the comments. Why in 2015, when we named this the Glow Basic, why would that be a terrible name now? Well, it's because our millennial kids and our Generation Z kids and grandkids decided that basic was bad. If you're so basic, oh, she's so basic or he's so basic. So we decided to rename this time around to be called, we don't want to offend our younger generations. This is called the Glow Classic because it was our first light board, and we think it's a classic. So that's now called the Glow Classic. So anyway, same thing. So we have two new models. We have the Glow Classic, the non-basic. It is so non-basic. And of course, because we're upgrading this, we also decided to, nothing makes you face, thank you. We decided to upgrade the premium. Now, we called the premium back in the day the premium because it has a premium feature that the classic does not have. And you can see right here is that it is, I have no strings, said Pinocchio. He's operating without a cord. So there's a tiny internal battery in here. And when I say tiny, it is the thinnest battery I've ever seen, but it still manages to pump out 4 hours of uncorded use on this, on high, by the way. So this is, let's see if this is high. Okay, that is high. 1, 2, 3, 4, high. So you can see the cameras unfortunately kind of rob the drama of, because it compensates for the light, but you can see how it shines off my face, how bright that is. On low and medium, it runs even longer, hours and hours and hours. So that is the great thing about that. Speaking of levels of light, that's something we changed too. So let's cut over here. Now it's a little bit hard to see, but on the previous models, we had 3 lights. Now we've made it 4. So there's a little bit more nuance there if you want to go up. And then you say, well, now why would I need to change the lights? Well, I'll tell you, because I know you know this. At night, when you're laying in your bed with your partner and you're playing some game or reading something you should be sleeping, how bright is that light in the room? It's like the sun in that room. And so when you have a dark room, you can bring the levels up and down. Again, the camera kind of compensates for the changes, but these light changes are quite dramatic, actually. So it starts on high, medium, and low, and off. So we get an extra level there. And both of these do the same thing. They both have the same high and low features. Okay. And then let's see how much, oh, I got plenty of time. Let's talk about the mats. This is one of my new favorite aspects of the mats. Now, there was a lot of people out there when we first introduced the Caterpillar who thought, oh, we can knock off their products. We can copy them. One of the things they couldn't knock off, this is a secret that we put on the bottom of the mat that keeps the mat from slipping. So anybody else, if you go out and buy a translucent PVC mat, it doesn't really work on any of the boards because the mat itself is quite slippery. Well, we developed a technology, a non-slip technology, and we've had this since 2016, that keep those mats solid on there. Well, this last year, I had an epiphany one day is, I say, if this keeps the mat from slipping on the board, why not put it on the top side to keep your medium from slipping as well? And we tested it and it works spectacularly. So when I say medium, I mean your fabric and your paper, whatever you're working on. So let's test that right now. Put this down. We're calling it dual grip. On the box, I think it says that. Yes, dual grip, self-healing cutting mat. So people are going to say, well, what is dual grip? Well, I just showed you the first grip. Now, unfortunately, it's a little bit hard to see. Maybe it can show it. If I show it in the light, no, it's a little bit hard to see. But there's a texture on there, and it perfectly matches, by the way, the grid, the painted grid or the printed grid on the mat to keep it from showing so it doesn't show. So what we did is we copied it exactly the same way on the top of the grid now. And I'm going to show you what that does, and I'm going to take this other mat to compare. Okay, so here's my fabric. Right? Here's my dual grip non-slip mat. Here's my off the wall ruler, which I love. If you've ever met Julie, she is a joy. And here's my cutter. So here's what this happens when I take this on a normal mat. Now, I'm not pushing down hard at all. As soon as I push down, that fabric is sliding all over the ruler. So we all know how dangerous something moving is. That's why, you know, we see people putting weights on their rulers and doing all these things and having all these cockamamie ways of holding, is to keep that still. So what we have done, this texture, and if you ever come visit us at any of the shows, come by and feel this texture for yourself. When I put the fabric, in fact, I'm going to turn the light off for this to get a little better. There we go. To get a much better grip, the same amount of pressure, and that you can see the table is shaking because it locks that fabric right in. It locks that ruler right in, especially, and it does not move. So that is what the dual grip. Both these mats now have the dual grip. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking right now who may have one of our products and who have bought this years ago. And as you know, we do replace the mats very reasonably. We replace the mats. We are not offering these mats for replacement probably until next year. And there's a few reasons behind that. So this new technology is only available on the new Classic and the new Glow Premium. So that is, to me, is just a game changer. Again, let's show that again. You know, we talk about our products as being problem solvers and time savers, and really methods to save you time and make your hobby more fun. Hobby is the one way to put it. Your obsession a little bit more fun. But this is a truly practical way. You know, there are some esoteric tools out there, but this is going to make, number one, it's going to make your life easier, and it's going to make your cutting safer because it does not move. It just locks down on there. And I hear people all the time who come to the booth and they say, by the way, you know, I used to do 20 shows a year. I'm down to less than 10 these days. They got me locked up down in Caterpillar Labs to come up with new stuff. But as Bethany was saying, is we do get a lot of feedback from our customers one-on-one. They say, well, I don't like this, I like this. And a lot of our products are direct results of that feedback and ideas that they've given us. So we really appreciate that. And I don't think there's a lot of other companies that do have that direct one-on-one so much with the customers like we do. So we really do listen to you. Those comments, I will go through all these comments today and get the feedback here. So let's talk about some of the other features. So that is the new dual grip non-slip. Now, if you've been paid attention to us the last year, you know about some of the things we've been doing with the Mini, how we added the plates into the base, and for all of our other customers who wanted to enjoy the benefits of magnets, that you could buy the plates and then put them on the bottom. So if you do have an existing board, you can buy these plates in the magnet set and turn this into magnets. Now let's talk about magnets for a second. Magnets, the story behind this is my mom. If you've ever watched any of my bits, I often talk about my mom and how when I was younger, I have 4 brothers. She made us all learn how to sew every spring. Before baseball, before soccer, football started, we all had to have a certain amount of time behind the sewing machine. And in the 1980s, that was not cool. But what a great skill it is. And so I always often talk about my mother and how she's our guinea pig. Well, a problem she gave me a year or two ago is, and you know, I'm not talking about a lot of the things you can do like Missy did. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of why they're great, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about transfers and tracing. So that's really the main reason Caterpillar is so useful, is because you can transfer paper to paper, paper to pattern, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things, and I know everybody out there has experienced this, is we spend more time lining those edges up. It's a little bit hard to see there. Anyway, you can see lining those edges. There we go. I had the wrong side down. And as soon as you get them perfect, and then you go to get your transferring, I just have a pencil here, and then they move again. And so my mom, she does bigger. And so she says, you know, I told her, well, you know, people are using tape and pins. She says, yes, Jack, I know I've been using tape and pins for years. But here's the problem. She's doing bigger stuff. She's doing fat quarters and things like that. So she's using bigger pieces of fabric. So pitting and taping doesn't always work. And when she does do it, she says, well, she pulls the tape off and the tape will rip the pattern, or the tape or the pins will rip the pattern, things like that. She goes, will you solve a way, try to find a way to make these layers, whether it's fabric or paper, to keep from moving. And so you all know that, on the Mini, we added these internal magnets, pardon me, the internal plates into the base of the actual in the acrylic. And so it was, and there was a lot of pushback here at Caterpillar, whether that was going to be effective, whether it was going to be a thing. And I tell you what, it is a thing. We've sold thousands of magnets and all these boards and these plates to turn your space into this magnet situation. And let's see what that does. Okay. So those magnets just hold those layers down, multiple layers. And what we've done here on the Glow Mini, we only had 4 tiny little plates. And what I did is I made this diagram to show you where these plates are. Boy, that is too bright. There we go. So these are how many plates are inside this board, to show you all the places that you can hold it down, almost unlimited amount of space. Both of these have these plates in there. You can use, the pack comes with 2 magnets. I think most of the time that's going to be, that's going to serve you well, but some people like to get, if they're using big stuff, they'll get 4 magnets to hold those layers down. You can see how strong. By the way, we also made the plates a little bit thicker. You can see I'm holding the magnets and it picks up the board. That is how strong these are, called N52 magnets. This is a game changer. This is huge. It'll work through the cutting mat. It'll work through multiple layers of fabric, multiple layers of paper. I think I'm a little blurry here. Come on, camera. Unblur me. No, you get the idea. So that is fun. That's in both of these models. We have the mats. I didn't even show you how the cutting. Let's cut something on here. And what shows you how well this works. There we go. 4 levels of light. And cut, I get a lot of people that come to the shows and say, well, I have my mat, but I took it off because I don't want to mess it up. Like, that is what we designed it to do. We designed these mats for you to cut on them, and we actually over-designed them, I think, a little bit. They actually work a little bit too well. Oops. So you can replace them, but I tell you what, it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next week. It's not going to be next month. It's going to be months and months, almost years from now. So you can see, I think my blade's pretty sharp. Boy, it doesn't shine very well either. See, these lights are just so bright, they just zonk out the cameras. You can see, there we go, that's on our lowest here. Again, changing the camera up and down is such a great way to use these. But you can cut on these mats to your heart content. And now, the more you cut on them, the safer you are, because these rulers and this fabric and these papers are not moving on here. They're just locked right down because of this new feature we have. And as always, we have, there we go, 6-foot cord and a plug, USB. Oh, Bethany's back. Is it over already? My gosh.
I mean,
I think I hit the highlights.
Yeah.
I think I hit the highlights. By the way, I'll end here. I brought these other magnets to show, because a lot of people say, well, I have magnets, right? Well, these N52 magnets are like nobody else's. I found dozens and dozens of magnets, and you know what? They hold fine, but they're not going to be the same as ours. So you can watch my magnet video on our YouTube channel. Go ahead, Bethany.
Oh, I was just going to say, we've had some great questions that I want to make sure we touch
let's
on.
get to the questions.
But while you were going through this, I unboxed one of mine. I unboxed the Glow Classic, and it has that new light board smell.
It has that new light board smell.
I opened it and I was like, ooh, that smells good. And then you have that satisfying peel the film off the front. Like, it's so good. Anyways, this is my first time getting to experience the dual grip.
Cool.
Myself.
And do you have any feelings about it?
I mean, just from touching it, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, I thought, I was so concerned, and you and I have talked about it. I was like, I don't want it to be too deep, but I want it to,
you don't want it to stick up and get in the way. Do you feel like it's out of the way?
So subtle. It is so subtle, but
Good.
It's like, it's there.
It's there.
I obviously haven't tested it with fabric yet. I will be today.
Good.
Let's see. I've got one of my little quilt blocks that I made. And I mean,
cute. Yeah, it just locks it right on the top.
And it's got the paper still on the back, the heat and bond. So
by the way,
no.
No one has this. I mean, our mats obviously are for our boards, but no one has this technology. We developed it. It's ours.
I'm obsessed. And of course, I just got into the diamond art, like
the diamond dots. Yes.
Diamond, yes. Because when I was traveling, I was like, I need something I can do on the plane. And so I took one of my light boards and I took my diamond art kit and I used the magnets to keep it in place so it doesn't slide off my light board.
Exactly right. So look how the magnets hold. This is my wife. She's obsessed with Jaws. We're almost finished on this one. Look how the magnets hold. Because if you've ever done diamond art or diamond dots, there you go.
This is what I've been working on while I watch TV at night. But this is on the old premium, but now I have the new premium. Yeah. So even better.
Anything that you want to hold down now, by the way, the magnets are separate. So you get the magnets separate, but they're usually bundled with a lot of our stuff and they're not that much. But the magnets along with these plates is a game changer. Everything on our new boards is a game changer. So. Oh
yeah. Well, one of the questions we got, because we've had a few, I want to go through them real quick before we move on to our next presenter. But one of them was, are you going to come out with a non-gridded mat for our new boards?
Well, the non-grid, we already have one. So you don't need to wait for one. You can buy one right now. Now you can see here, this is the gridless mat. It won't, because the thing is we can't put it on the top. Well, we could, but it would mess with the translucence a little bit.
The reason what he's talking about is the dual grip is in the lines of the grid, and if you don't have the grid, you would still see those lines in the non-grid.
And that's not a deal killer, really. It's something we would consider. So if it's something that you really think we need, we will consider it. So if you're at a show, come bend my ear, and I would love to hear your thoughts.
We had another question. Are all the boards magnetized?
So all of the new boards now are magnetized. Now that sounds almost like it's been had a spell put on it or something. Magnetized. So all the boards have the plates in there, like I showed you. So these are, I'm going to turn this off. These are where all the plates are located internally. We built them into the acrylic, and so that's what allows the magnets to hold any of these. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plates. I hadn't even counted them yet. That's what holds them down there.
And whereas comparison, this is the premium that I had, like what we're calling the original premium, right? Yes, and I have the magnet plates on the back where my magnets are on the front. But now I don't have to use those magnet plates with the new classic and the new premium because they're built in, right?
They're built in. They're all built in. 10 plates built in. Mm-hmm. And you can see how strong they are. I made it a little bit thicker than the last when we did on the mini, and look how that's how strong they are.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay, we had another question. They said, is there a discount on these? And absolutely. So for our live event, the discount code is March Live. That gives you 15% off all of our Caterpillar products on our website. So go to caterpillar.com. To grab one of these new boards. I mean,
by the way, when I heard that they were discounting, because we never discount new products because we don't have to.
Yeah, no, we normally don't.
Do you ever see a new iPhone discounted? Absolutely not. It's months and months and months before they start discounting. So the fact that we're discounting
before the next version
on
comes
the day that we release them is huge.
Well, we wanted you guys to take advantage of the discount we're doing on all of our products across the board for this event. And we just decided, yes, we're launching new products, but of course, we're going to let you guys get a discount on them just during this live event. By the way, these discounts are only till Sunday. So don't wait. Yeah. Now, the code is
you won't
March
see these discounted
Live.
Again anytime soon, I bet.
No, it won't be. March Live is 15% off. But if you registered for VIP membership of this event, which was free to do, then you got a different code in your email, which I'm not going to say here. You got a different code in your email that will give you actually 20% off instead of 15. So you need to go check your email and use that code if you're a VIP member. If you have not signed up for VIP yet, you still can over on our website. We'll drop the link in the chat. Give me just a second to find I have so many tabs open on my computer, but I'm going to drop the link to sign up for VIP. If you haven't yet, it's not too late. You'll instantly get an email. It's free to do. Instantly get an email with that 20% off code instead of the 15. The 15% off code is for anyone who chose not to register, and that's fine, your prerogative. But if you would like 20% off on our Caterpillar products during our live event through Sunday, you can register. You'll instantly get an email with that code, and you're going to want to use that. I mean, they're very excited.
Let's give something away.
All right, spin to win. Spin to win.
That's what I've been waiting for.
All right.
Here, all you that put up with my shenanigans for the last half hour, here's your payoff right here.
It's been worth it. I mean, they're super pumped about all the new features. It's not like we just upgraded one little thing. It's like how they're molded, how it fits in, the new cutting mats, how the magnets. I mean, like there's like 4 different things that we've changed that you're probably thinking, I didn't even think I needed 4 updates to my light board because they're pretty great. But now that we've done it, you're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. And that's all because of y'all's feedback. So we're so excited.
We're here to solve your problems. We're the only ones that really think about these this way. You know, there's other companies that do stuff, but we consider those problems, those paper piecing problems Missy was doing earlier, would be so much easier with these magnets and holding this stuff down while you're cutting, by the way.
I know. I would almost say that Missy's probably like adding to cart right now herself after seeing these, because it's her first time seeing them too. We've really kept this a pretty tight secret. All right, so let's spin, and then I'm going to have you guys drop the word magnet, because now all of our boards are magnetized. So drop the word magnet in the chat to enter into this spin to win. Let's see what you're going to win. The winner is going to get, a flip and fold 36.
Hey.
So we gave a flip and fold earlier. This is the 36, which is a little smaller than our 48. It's perfect for traveling. It is 5 cutting mats in one. It folds. It takes on the go. It will not warp or anything. It's amazing. I use this in all of my sew-alongs I do with you guys here on our YouTube. I take it to my sewing club and my retreats. It's amazing. It just pops together like puzzle pieces. So put the word magnet in the chat, and then we'll pick a winner really quick.
A $200 value, by the way.
Yeah, these are so nice. So nice. I mean, they're both amazing. Real quick, I'm going to pop a banner up on the screen. If we pick you to win, you're going to need to use this email to let us know who you are so we can send it to you. I'm just going to randomly scroll and stop. Ready? I'm randomly scrolling and stopping and picking a winner. Okay, we're going to show this one. Tracy Linhart, you are the winner of our Flip and Fold 36. Flip and fold. I'm making notes, but you'll still need to send us an email. Let me write this down. There we go. Trying to keep up with all the goodies, but we'll need you to send an email over to melody@caterpillar.com. Please include your first and last name, your mailing address, and what you won. But I made a note as well of what you won, so if you forget. But please send that. And then we will be doing another spin to win here in a few minutes. Don't forget we have our March live code for 50% off. If you're a VIP, you have a different code in your email to use on our website during this entire event. We have some other deals that we're going to be stacking on top of that. Remember, Melody and I were talking about the stack on stack on stack thing. We don't normally do that, let alone put new products on sale. But here we are. This is a special event for us. We're really excited that you're here. We've got over 200 of you watching. I've been keeping tabs, and it just keeps growing. I'm so excited you're here. This is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Share it with a friend. We'll do another spin to win later, and we'll do our big grand prize at the end of the day. But thank you, Jack.
Thank you for letting me hijack your creativity show with my
nerdy you know what?
features.
So many people said that they love to see like the R&D side, like what goes into it. And a lot of companies don't take the time to share that. We truly are passionate about what we're making for the sewing community, the quilting, crafting community completely. And I think it just goes to show to them like how invested we are.
Well, we don't sit in our ivory towers and decide what you need. We listen to you and you tell us what you need and we make it.
I almost wish you could see Jack's office. We're not going to scare you with that, but it is like everything that goes on in here is out in his office. It's like a representation of like all the craziness that goes on. But it works.
I'm going for the Einstein never had a clean desk.
He's like MacGyver over there. When I first went to the office, when I first started working for Caterpillar, we'll share this story real quick. I went to Jack's office and I was like, oh, because I'm like a neat and tidy kind of person. But then I started talking to him and I was like, wait, what is that? What is that? What? And everything's kind of pieced together, but it's all everything he's trying to test out and to make it perfect before it comes to you, right? And so for me, I was like, oh, I really love to see like the whole process of how you got there. So I also get to help out with some of these R&D ideas.
Yes.
And I have so much fun working with you guys to make it come to fruition and perfect it. And it's really fun. It's so fun to have products.
We have some new products coming out later this year that Bethany had a hand in. So we're going to talk about that next one. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for. I know I'm taking Raina's time, so I'm going to get out of here and let you get on. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. All right, guys. Up next is Rona. So I'm going to bring Rona to stage. Here we go. Oh, let me unmute you. Hold on. There we go.
I was so wrapped up in watching all of this stuff that I almost forgot that I was supposed to present today. So that's good. And I do have my mini. I love the mini, but now I'm like super excited. I need to get the new one.
I know. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Now, we're so happy you're here. And thank you for waiting in the background for us to go through these things and do some spin to win. And everybody's here tuning in. So you're going to go over real quick, precision, like points, getting the points lined up perfectly when quilting, and curves, which I already said earlier. I don't know if you had hopped on yet. Curves intimidate me. So if you guys do not have your pen and paper handy to take some notes, you're going to want to. I'm also, once I get off of the screen, I will drop a link to the blog post I wrote for Rona all about everything she's doing today. So if you hadn't had a chance to download her template and her pattern to be able to practice this, what she's going to show you, this right here, then you're going to want to go download it. I've linked it in her blog post for you. And I believe, let me pull this up real quick. You have a discount that you're offering our viewers as well. So use the code CUTTER15 for 15% off anything on Rona's website, which I've put right here on the screen, ronatheribbeter.com. So take a screenshot, write it down on your notepad, whatever you need to do. We'll put it back up at the end of her segment as well to remind you. And then you also have a little giveaway, which we'll do at the end of your segment. But thank you for doing. We'll pick a winner for that at the end from our VIP list. So if you signed up for VIP, you're going to get to win something from Rona specifically. But yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to you, let you teach us all the things.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you for having me. This is super fun. I'm very excited. So yeah, this is the pattern. It's this is the sample that is in this pattern. And it literally is just a sampler to walk you through how to get basically down to basics, if you will. So it's good for a beginner quilter. It's also good for an experienced quilter that just wants to get a little bit more precise with putting your blocks together, especially if you're interested in entering a quilt into a quilt show, because, you know, the judges tend to look at those tiny little details. So yeah, before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me as far as the perfect points goes. I am a self-taught quilter. In fact, it wasn't until I started teaching quilting that I even knew that quilt blocks had names, because I literally was, I mean, there was no YouTube or anything, so I was figuring things out as I went. And I had problems with fabric warping when I was trying to put blocks together. So I had to learn the different types of fabrics and what was working and what wasn't. And I tend to be a little OCD with things. So my rule of thumb is if it's off by 1/8 of an inch or less, then I just leave it. If it's off by 1/8 of an inch or more, then I redo it. And I've never actually entered a quilt into a show. It's just my little personal OCD thing. Okay, so when we're talking about perfect points, everything that you do with your fabric from the time you purchase it at the quilt shop or the store, from the time you put your blocks together, everything can impact how that block turns out and how precise it is. That comes down to whether you pre-wash it or not. I generally do not pre-wash yardage. I know a lot of people do. I do not, but you can. It's either way. Obviously, pre-cuts, not really a good idea to wash those, especially the strips, because they just get all windy. But what I do is I am a starcher. And the reason I starch fabric, you can use regular starch, like I use starch heavy duty that you get at the grocery store for like your denim jeans, things like that. There's also liquid starch that you can use. You can use best press. The reason I use the heavy starch is because I don't want that fabric to move. When I cut it, I want to know that that is exactly the size that I cut it. And when I stitch it and press the seams, I don't want that shifting. So the starch kind of acts like a glue, if you will, for the fibers in the fabric. Also, the difference between press and not iron. So in quilting, one of the beautiful things about quilting is that there's 15 different ways to do the same thing. And that is fantastic. And it's up to you to find what works best for you, right? So for me, when I'm teaching, I'm literally just telling you what I do and why. But I'm not the quilt police. I'm not going to come to your studio and say, no, it must be done this way. So for pressing, if you look at, there's two things that affect fabric, because fabric, if you look at it, I'm not sure how well we can see this on the screen, how well that comes across. Fabric is literally just threads woven together, and how tight that weave is. General rule is the tighter the weave, the sturdier the fabric, but it also helps with all these little frays that can come off. Starch helps keep those at bay too. But two things that will affect that weave on the fabric is liquid and heat. Think about like when you get into a hot tub and you sit down in that nice hot water and every part of your being just relaxes, right? Well, same thing with the fibers in fabric. When you apply liquid, specifically like best press and water mostly, and then it allows those fabric or those threads to just kind of relax a bit. And then same thing with heat, the high heat that we use in the irons, it allows those threads to just relax. So if you are putting that heat down on that fabric and those threads are nice and loose and relaxed, the moment you slide it, that tight weave will loosen up and shift. And that's kind of how we get warped pieces. So my rule of thumb that I follow is no liquid after cutting. So once I start cutting my fabric pieces, I'm not going to apply any more water or any more liquid. I've seen people use misters and things like that, like to press their seams, like they'll stitch a seam and then spray it with water or best press and then use the iron. I don't like to do that because, like I said, the mixture or the combination of the heat and that liquid can shift, and all of a sudden your perfectly stitched pieces will kind of warp a little bit and they're no longer precision. So since we are looking for perfect, or at least as close to it as possible, that's one big thing that will affect how your fabrics come out or how your block comes out. So the next thing is cutting. And cutting there's so many things that can go into cutting and how it affects your fabric. So what I'm going to do, since my setup is a little bit different than a lot of people's, I'm going to lower my camera so you can see the cutting mat that's right below me here. I don't want to shake it too much. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So your ruler, when I cut fabric, first thing I do is I use the ruler. I don't use the mat. The only time I use the mat is if I'm cutting something that's like a strip that's wider than my 6-inch ruler. But when I'm cutting a strip, the first thing you want to do is look at your ruler. Like I said, anything as small as a 1/16 of an inch can affect the overall size of your block. And the reason for that is you may think that a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch is really small, right? And it seems insignificant. But when you add it up, and if you have a 1/16 of an inch that's off on 9 different pieces, your finished block can be off by at least 1/2 an inch sometimes. So it really does add up when you're looking for that precision. Also, when you're looking at your ruler and say you want to line up, let me put the white behind it, it's a little easier to see. Let's say you want to line up on the 1/2 inch on your ruler here. Are you going to line it up on the dead center of that line? Are you going to line it up on the left side, on the right side? Because again, the width of that strip or that line there can be as much of as a 1/16 of an inch, depending on the ruler you're using. So that can even play a role in it. So I tend to use the same ruler, whichever one it is, the same ruler for the entire project. And like I said, I usually use the ruler, not the mat. So now I know I have this fabric that I'm using is going to be cut at 4 inches. I need 4-inch squares for this. So the first thing is I never assume that the edge is straight. Even if you didn't starch it and you watched the lady at the quilt shop cut it, never assume that it's a straight edge. So the very first thing I want to do is cut that straight edge. And I know somebody was talking earlier about cutting. So this is how I do it. I've seen a lot of people, when they go to cut fabric, they rest their hand and all of the weight is right there at your wrist. But the problem with that is when you cut, it can move across and literally shift because all that weight is in one place. So when I cut, I use my whole hand. So that way there's 5 points of contact on the ruler. So it stays a lot sturdier. Unless, of course, you're going to go out and buy the new Caterpillar mat, which I think I will. So it has the grip on there. But you can see with, the 5 points of contact, it doesn't move nearly as easily. The other thing is your rotary cutter. We're human beings, and human beings, we like to see what we're doing, right? So we tend to put the blade at an angle. But the problem with that too is you're putting pressure on the ruler as you go. And again, that pressure can move the ruler. So I like to do, like I said, 5 points of contact, lean into it, and try to keep the blade as straight up and down as possible. So I'm going to unlock it. And I'm just going to go straight past my hand, stop, move my hand up, and then continue my edge. So now I know that I've got a perfectly straight edge. And then we're going to flip it. And again, I'm lining it up with the ruler, not the mat. So I need it 4 inches. So I'm going to line it up. And I usually try to line them up right down dead center. So I want to line it up on that 4-inch line, right down dead center as much as possible. And then, like I said, 5 points of contact. Go just past my hand. There we go. So now I know that I have a 4-inch width strip. And then from that point, I would say 90% of the cutting that I do is with either that 6-inch 6x24 or these rulers. I love these little squares. So again, I just need a 4-inch by 4-inch square to do these. So I'm just going to line up my edge, but same thing. I know I'm not going to assume that this outer edge is straight because I haven't cut it. So I'm going to move the ruler so that the line is just inside. Then I'm going to make sure the top and bottom are straight on these lines here. And then flip it around. I know this side is straight because I just cut it. And then when you line it up 4-inch by 4-inch square, it should fit perfectly. There we go. Get rid of all my little tiny scraps here. So now we have our squares. So the first block that we're doing with this particular pattern is we're going to do, we're working on the pinwheels. I'm making these pinwheels smaller than the pattern is just because it's easier for you guys to see with the smaller ones on a close-up camera, that is. So in order to make the half square triangles, these guys here, this is another thing that can definitely alter how your blocks come out. So we need obviously a 1/4 inch seam, right? Don't know what I did with my square. Oh, there it is. So the first thing I want to do, because doing these 2 at a time, I want to make this center line. Now, most patterns, including mine, are going to tell you to make this center line, draw it across the diagonal. And I'm using a regular pencil just because it shows up better on screen. Normally, I would use a fabric pen. Oops, it's not quite straight. Anyway, so we're going to draw this straight line, right? Like I said, most patterns are going to tell you to do that. But then we need to do a 1/4 inch seam on either side. Now, if you have a 1/4 inch foot, which I do, you can line it up with that edge. But as you're stitching, it tends to shift as you go. So it doesn't always stay perfectly on the edge of your foot. And also, as human beings, for my years of teaching the basics of quilting, it's a human thing. I still don't know why necessarily it happens, but it does. And almost everybody does it, especially when they learn to sew, they'll stitch a straight line all the way down until the very end. And then at the very end, it kind of goes whoop, at an angle. And like I said, I don't know why people do it. I still do it if I'm in a hurry and I'm not paying attention. It literally just comes down in an arc at the very end. So to prevent that, I use my ruler and I'm going to line up the ruler so that the 1/4 inch line that's right here is just on the inside of this line. And the reason I do that, because again, we're going for precision, right? So I'm going to put it right inside the line, because when we draw the line, you have the edge from the edge of the ruler to your pencil, the tip of your pencil. And that can be, again, it could be up to a 1/16 of an inch difference. So that's why I do just inside the line and then draw it. And that way you can see it ends up being exactly a 1/4 of an inch. I hope you guys can see that. But the line literally goes directly on there. So then you do that on the other side as well. So now stitching directly on a line, I don't know about you, but for me, it's much easier to stay on the line than it is to kind of, especially if you're in a hurry, your eyes tend to stay on that line versus doing that little oops at the very end. Okay, so once we have those stitched together, I press these. Before pressing, I always do, I set the seams first, and that's only if I'm pressing to one side. So these, I would set the iron down on the seam before opening it. And that, like I said, heat with those threads, it allows them to relax and it actually helps flatten them. So when you press your seam to one side, it helps keep that fold nice and flat, if that makes sense. So when we have our half square triangles open, then I just trim them. And when I trim them, that's another reason I love these rulers, because they have that nice little angle down the center of them. So I can line up this angle on the fold. So I need to cut it. I'll move this up a little bit. So I need to cut it at 3.5. So this line here is my 3.5. So I can bring it down to make sure that it's centered as much as possible. And then once again, your 5 points contact. trim the top and the side. Whoop, didn't quite get that all the way on the top. There we go. My hand does not want to work today. There we go. And then literally flip it around and do the same thing. But this time I want to line it up exactly on that 3.5. So we got 3.5 by 3.5. And again, you should have that diagonal right down the center. There you go. Now we have our half square triangles. So, oh, and you know what I did not do? I did not stitch that one together. That's all right. So now we want to make our pinwheel. And to make our pinwheel, I always set my blocks out first, especially with pinwheels, because I always end up doing something backwards. So I want to line it up so I know which piece goes where, right? And then we start with putting our sides right side, or two pieces right sides together. When I do this, I try to put a pin or a clip or something so to remind myself this is the side I'm going to stitch. Because I don't know about you, there have been multiple times where I've lined it up nice and perfect and I stitched the wrong side. Then our little seam ripper comes out. So when we're putting these together, we want it to be nice and nested. And if you've never heard that term before, nested literally means your top and bottom seam are nested together. So you can see when you at one side how it literally nests right into each other, and those seams kind of butt up against each other. So that's what you want. You want them to be, and you can feel it when you press on them. You can feel how they really just lay nice and flat and smooth together. So another thing that can affect your block is how you pin it. Now we're doing this side, stitching this side. So I've seen a lot of people that they hold the fabric up like this and pin it. I've seen people that will put the pin straight up and down and then pull it to the side. This can sometimes actually shift the fabric when you pull it down. It can literally, if it's not all the way through the fabric, it can just grab the top fabric and shift it. So then your perfectly aligned corner there is no longer perfectly aligned. And you run that risk as well when you're doing it up off the mat. It can shift, like one can end up being higher than the other. So what I do is when it's nice and nested, I take my pin and I go down from the side and I just wiggle it until I can feel that it's gone all the way through the fabric. And I want to bring it up so that it captures this side of the seam and this side of the seam. That way it's much easier to control. And then so we're stitching this side. Then we're going to stitch a 1/4 inch down this way. Now you can also draw the 1/4 inch if you want to on the side, just to make extra sure that it stays a 1/4 inch. And also, I'm going to say something that is extraordinarily controversial. I've had people actually get offended when I made this suggestion one time. Is what I do is I start at the outer edge and I stitch down a 1/4 inch and I stitch over my pin. There are a lot of people out there that will tell you never, ever, ever do that because two reasons. Usually, one, it can void the warranty on your sewing machine if you do that. A lot of warranties will state that clearly, that it can void the warranty. But also because if the needle hits the pin, it can throw off the timing on your machine. So for me, I've been stitching over my pins since I started sewing, which was, I think, about 12, 13 years ago, something like that. And in all those years, I think I've actually hit the pin maybe half a dozen times. So for me, it doesn't happen nearly as often, or it doesn't happen very often at all. And the trick to it is when you stitch down, you stitch slowly. And when you get to your pin, hold the pin and guide it through. And as long as you're not going like super, super slow or too fast, then like I said, it's very rare that I have a problem. But the reason I keep that in place is because when you take the pin out right before, the way the feed dogs come down and that foot presses down on the top fabric, it can shift it. So as it comes through, it can literally shift the fabric and push it out of place. So your beautifully nested seams can become unnested, essentially. So I'm just gonna, or I don't need to stitch those. I was going to stitch them ahead of time and I completely forgot to do that. So instead, I'll use these other ones to show you the next way, or the next step in it. Nope, those are the wrong ones. Might help if I grab the right ones. The next step, once you have these together, is to press them. Again, I press them in opposite directions. So I press them toward the dark side, if you will. So these are pressed, the center ones are pressed out to the dark pink. So when you have your two pieces together, then you want to line up this center point. Once again, right sides together. And this time, all of those seams should nest in together. So you can feel it if you just kind of keep shifting it around so that they all line up nice and neat. And again, you can feel it as you move them around. And then to check, I literally pull up and then just slowly work it down to make sure that this point and this point line up exactly. And once they do, then I put a pin. And I put the pin in the same way I did with the others from the side. So make sure that it's hard to do this and then turn it without it shifting on you. So make sure it's back in place. Yeah. And then same thing, I want to come at it from an angle and I want to get so that all of those seams are included. That way, so you've got it on this side and you've got it, oh, didn't quite come through on that side. Try that again. The reason why I want to capture as much of that as possible in the pin is because that helps prevent it from getting caught inside the feed dogs when you're stitching over those points. So there we go. Now we've got it, that side and this side all captured in the pin. So same thing, if you don't trust yourself or you want to check, you can take your straight ruler and line it up on your outer edge, just to make sure that that is nice and straight. And this definitely is. So it's nice and straight down that outer edge. If it's not, you can either trim it with your rotary cutter or you can use your fabric pen and just mark where the line is and stitch it straight down. And like I said, when you are stitching, I stitch over the pin very slowly and I just hold it in place as I work it through. And when you're coming over this point, you want to stitch exactly over that point. Like you literally want it to go directly over where all those come together. Because when you press them open, then that point will be nice and perfect. And I don't have a finished one, but when we transfer over to the machine, I'll stitch it and show that one for you. So if we have questions, feel free to put them in the comments there and we'll get to them at the end. I'm going to try and...
So, Rona, do you want me to go through a couple of them real quick? Because we have a few while you're on this topic, if that's okay. Okay,
absolutely.
So the first one was, because you've shared, like all the comments are like, these are amazing tips. I love these tips. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. All right, so we're going to interject and take a quick break and ask you some questions.
Okay.
Do you still iron your seams as you go? And with or without steam?
I do iron them. I press them. I don't iron them. I literally set the iron down. Right. I just set it down, lift up, move, set it down. Because again, that heat is can pull open those seams. So I just set the iron flat down and then lift it up. I do not use any kind of steam. In fact, there's never any water in my iron at all.
Same.
For the same reason.
Someone asked if you have tutorial videos somewhere else, like on YouTube or your website.
I do actually. I have some of these very same ones on my YouTube channel. Yep.
Okay, perfect. We'll be sure to share a link to that in the chat, so look for that. How many layers can you cut at once to avoid shifting?
That is actually a question I get asked a lot. I only do up to 2 maximum at one time, because if there's more than 2 layers, then it can shift a lot easier in between the ruler and the mat. So yeah, I do 2 maximum.
Awesome. Someone asked, what brand of rulers are you using? A lot of people also shared brands that they like to use in the comments, but we have a lot of newbies to quilting and they're learning how to use their rulers for the first time or don't even know which rulers to get. So if you have a brand that you like, you're welcome to share that, or whichever ones you're using.
Well, the ones that I actually use right now that I'm using are the Omni Grip ones, which are pretty basic ones that you can get at most shops. But I do also have these ones. To me, they show up better on screen is why I use them. But my personal rulers that I use when I'm just doing stuff for me is same thing, off the wall quilt. I have a set of Julie's rulers as well that I use because I like the bright neon on them.
Yeah,
they're easy to see.
Has a personal preference, so don't be afraid to try different ones. I know a lot of people have suggested some different ones in the chat.
Yep.
And then last question is, would quilt clips work better than pins?
I don't use clips because, well, first of all, you can't stitch over them. And so that you have to remove the clips, where the pins, if you want to, you can leave them in and stitch over them. Like I said, it's completely up to however you feel comfortable doing. If you don't feel comfortable stitching over your pins, then don't. Just go as close to it as you can before you take it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually do the stitch as close to the pin and then I remove it. But that's, you know, everybody has their own preference, but I love all the tips. My last question, and this is a personal question, and I don't know if you shared it or not. So if you did, I probably was busy reading all these awesome chats. What stitch length do you prefer to piece? And as you add and get more bulk in your pieces, do you change it?
You know what? I don't. I stitch usually about a 2 or 2.5 depending on the machine. But I don't usually change it very often. If I end up doing like something that's like a pinwheel that has, you know, like 8 or 16 pieces in it and it gets kind of thick in the center, then I might go like 0.5 higher. But that's pretty much it.
And we did have one other question. Do you press your seams open, or do you nest your seams, or do you press to the dark side? What is your kind of rule? I know, like you said, there's so many different ways to do it.
Yeah.
But how do you prefer?
So I do, if I'm doing something like this where it's triangles and pinwheels, that sort of thing, then I will press to generally the dark side, or whichever side is easiest to get that spin. But other times, if it's just straight piecing, like with squares, rectangles, generally, I press them open. So it kind of depends on the block.
Awesome. Now I'm going to hand it back over to you. And if you guys still have more questions, please put them in the chat. I am literally writing them down as we go. So
okay. Okay. So now, oh, nope, here. So now we're going to start with the Y seam. And it's funny because I get a lot of questions about the Y seam. A lot of people are intimidated by it. Some people have tried it and it doesn't work. And so then they get frustrated and they don't want to do it again. I actually designed a quilt that was for my husband, for his man cave, if you will. And I designed it. I loved it. I showed it to him. He loved it. And then I was committed to making it. I printed it out and went, oh my gosh, there's like 45 Y seams in this thing. So after I did like 2 or 3, I got, perfect. It was absolutely perfect, to the point where I took a close-up of it and posted it on Facebook just so I'd have, like public record that I got it so perfect. And then I kept doing it again and again and again. And I realized that there's an actual trick to it. So the first thing for this particular, the block, it requires 3 pieces, 1 square that's 3.5 by 3.5, and then you have 2 rectangles that are 3.5 by 7. And when you do your Y seam, your pieces need to come together at an angle. here it is. I knew I had it here somewhere. So when you're doing your Y seam here, you need these rectangle pieces need to come together at that angle, right? And sometimes it can be confusing if you're just cutting one piece at a time. And I don't know how many times I'd had to recut them because I cut one at the wrong angle and they didn't line up together. If I was sewing them straight, they'd be perfect, but I needed them side by side. So what I do for this one is I take my pieces, my two rectangles, and I put them right sides together. You got to make sure that that is the key. Make sure that they are right sides together. And I line them up as perfectly as I can, one on top of the other. And then once again, I'm going to take that nifty little square ruler because it has that diagonal line on there. And I'm going to line that diagonal line. I'm going to put that on the outer edge of my strip here. And I want it so that the top point comes right to the point of the fabric. And then that way I can cut at that perfect 45-degree angle. And I always save these triangles because you can always do other things with them. So, and now when you open them up, you have them so that they fit together just like they're supposed to. And then our square goes right here. Now in my pattern for this particular quilt block, these pieces are going to end up being longer than the square. That's okay, because you're going to trim them down at the end. So that's why they actually line up perfectly this way without the seam allowance in there, or without the seams, I should say. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is on our square, on the back side of it, the wrong side, I want to draw a 1/4 inch on each side, or on two of the sides. These are the sides that are going to be stitched to your, that's not a parallelogram. I forget what it's called. These pieces. So literally, I'm just going to take that same ruler and line it up and draw that 1/4 inch on two sides, just like that. And what I'm looking for is this point right there. I want that because that's going to be the key to all of it. Then for these pieces, I want to do the same thing, but on the right side. So again, you're doing a 1/4 inch and then 1/4 inch down your outer side here because you're looking for that center point to come together. And you're going to do the same thing on your other piece here. So I'll just draw that real quick. So again, that's what I want, is where those points come together, or those lines come together. So now I'm going to take, we're just going to start with one, and I'm going to put my pin directly into that point. So I literally want it so that it goes directly down that center point there. And then I'm going to line it up with this one on that same point. I hope you guys can see the chalk on there. But I'm literally just going to push it right through that same center point and then line the edges up. Now you'll notice that when these are together on that center point, it kind of, the green sticks over a little bit. So that's the reason why I want, because it's not evenly to the edge. And you can see this is not to the edge either. So that's why I want those points, and everything is centered on where that point comes together. So now I'm just going to stitch that, or put those together. Got to grab another pen or pin. And I'm just going to pin that. So when I stitch this, I'm going to stitch from the outside in, and I'm going to stop about 1 stitch length before the point. I don't want to go all the way up to the point, because I've seen a lot of people that's what they teach when they do Y seams, is to go all the way up to the point. But I want to stop, like I said, about 1 stitch length, just barely before where that point comes together. And then this one, I am going to press the seams open. And then once this is stitched together, I'm going to do the same thing with my white piece. So you're literally going to have it come together like this. So you have this point comes together, and it's literally like just barely before you can, this one, well, this is stitched over, but you can see it's like maybe 1 stitch or even half a stitch length away from that point. Let me see if I can hold it up a little bit closer. If you can see that. So this way, and also one thing to remember is always do the square first. This diagonal line is the last one that you do, very last. So once I have these sides stitched together, now I want to take my block and I want to put it right sides together. Most people I've seen, the very first thing they do is they try to line this edge up so that they stitch down this side here. I don't care about this side. I literally don't care if this lines up at all. The only thing I care about are these 2 seams on the front and the back, these seams here. I want to make sure that these 2 line up perfectly. So I want to make sure that the edge of this is straight and that outer seam is together. I'll put a little pin just so to hold it there. And then I want to do the same thing with this side so that both the top and bottom are lined up together. And that's why we have that little bit of space in there. It gives you wiggle room. So if you need to kind of, finagle it a little bit and to get it to line up, you can. And then once that's together, then you can pin it. And this, if it's completely straight, when you press this out, it should be a perfect triangle. So this top point should literally come to a nice point, just like that. And once you have this part and as a triangle and these seams lined up, then it does not matter if this side lines up perfectly or not. If it's off a little bit, it doesn't matter. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line it up so that this outer edge lines up with this fold on that top triangle there. And then I'm literally just going to draw a line straight down. So from where this lines up, I'm going to continue straight down. So like I said, even if it's off just a little bit, it does not matter. The only thing that matters is this is straight and this line is straight. And then just pin it, if I can get both layers, and then stitch this time from the center out. And every single time it will give you a perfect Y seam almost every single time. So are there any questions about the Y seams? I know that was kind of a quick run through.
The feedback is just that you're blowing everybody's minds. You're making this very clear to follow. You have some new YouTube subscribers already, and they're excited after this event to go in and start practicing. They love your tutorial. I had a couple of questions. What presser foot do you use when you're sewing all your seams?
I literally just use a standard 1/4-inch foot. In fact, that's my foot.
Yep. Perfect.
I don't like to use the one with the guide, only because when you're doing the fabric, like you're going over multiple layers or you're going down the center, then the guide really doesn't like to go over that fabric. So that's why I use the open one.
Someone noticed that your pins that you're using seem to be a lot thinner than standard pins, and those are flower pins. So do you just order them online somewhere? Or pick them up?
No, I literally just picked them up at my quilt shop. That was it. Yeah.
And they're just flower pins, and they're thin.
They are. Yeah, they're thin and long, and that's what I like about them. Yep. And I like that the heads of them lay flat.
Perfect. Yeah, it does help it so your material continues to lay flat as you're piecing it together. Real quick, I know you were going to go over curves.
Yes.
I have time to do that real quick?
Yes, that'll only take a couple minutes.
Okay, awesome. No rush. I already let Melody know that you got a late start, and this happens with live. So thank you guys for go in with the flow. So Melody already knows because she's going to present something next. So you take your time. We all want to learn about curves, myself included. So have that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's the other one that definitely people tell me that they're intimidated by is the curves. So this there's a template that I hope I sent it with the pattern. If not, let me know. I can send it to you. But it's just a generic template for these two pieces. They even have rulers that you can get for cutting these. It's very standard. You can find them pretty much anywhere for these particular pieces. But so when we're stitching, a lot of times when people do curves, it tends to go a little wonky. And when you press them out, they end up being off either one way or the most times it's kind of goes in an arc inward. And it's really difficult to keep it at that perfect 6, like this one is 6.5. So because you're not trimming afterwards, you're literally, this is 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So we want to try and keep it so that when you stitch it, it still makes that perfect square, right? So here's how I do it. The trick is literally in the pinning. So when you pin it, the very first thing I want to do is I want to find dead center. So I'm going to take my small piece here and I'm going to fold it wrong sides together so that those outer edges come together. And I'm just going to pinch it real nice, good pinch in the center. And if you can't see the center point, you can just put a little mark there just so it's easier to see it. And then with your big piece, you're going to do it the opposite way. So right sides together, right sides together. And once again, you're literally just lining up that outer edge and then so that it's the same and then pinch it to find that center. So once you have the center for the top and the bottom, you're going to literally just line them up. It's easier for me to do it this side so I can actually see it. But the main thing though is, so you line up the two center points so that the raw edges come together, but also you want to look at it on this side. You want to make sure that it literally goes straight out. So you want the whole thing centered, not just this point. So like if you were to draw a line, it goes straight out. And then I'm going to put a pin in there right at the center mark. So it should look just like that with your pin in the center and straight down. So once you have this, then you're going to start now doing this part. The fabric is going to fight against you because the circles are in opposite directions. But I promise you, you can win out over the fabric. I've done it many times, so I promise you can do it too. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring these outer edges together, but I want to do it so that this side edge comes together on this outer edge here, this raw edge. So I'm going to line these up and I'm going to put a pin so that I can keep it from sliding around out here. And then put a pin on this side because you want these two raw edges to come together. Got pins all over the place. Just hoping I don't stab myself. I probably just jinxed myself by saying that too. That's all right. I think I have Teflon fingers now from all the poking myself. Okay, so you can see that the fabric it wants to curve, right? It literally is trying to curve itself. So now that I have this side straight and pinned, now I'm going to take these two and I'm literally just going to kind of arc it in my fingers and let it do what it wants to do. It wants to arc out. So I'm just going to arc them so that they're in the same direction and those outer edges are together, and then find where's roughly the center there. Put a pin, whoop, and then do the same thing here. And remember, you want to make sure that those raw edges stay together. I'll put another pin. Oop, maybe it decided to fold on me. Like I said, the fabric is going to try and fight against you. So you just got to make sure and force it a little bit. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Put a little pin. And that's generally all the pins that I put in each side. But if you want to put in more pins, you can, or less pins, whatever you're comfortable with. But the key, like I said, the key is getting that first center started and lining up these outer edges. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side that I did with the other one, where I'm going to line up the outer edge and the top point here, and put another pin. Do that there. And like I said, just making sure those raw edges stay together. And then you do the exact same thing to put this side together, just like you did the other, where you're kind of forcing the raw edges together, finding that center roughly, and pinning it. So once you have all your pins in here, oh, that one's off just a little bit. Once you have your pins all in your circle here, what I do is I start on this outer edge. And like I said, you want to make sure that this outer edge stays straight. So I leave this pin in here to make sure that this bottom piece doesn't shift on me. And I'm going to start right here. This time I do not stitch over my pins. I just literally, and I'll show you on the, I'll take my foot here. Put on the, well, let's put it on the white fabric so you can see it a little better. So I'm going to take my pin, and at my 1/4 inch, I'm going to line it up so that the 1/4 inch lines up right on the outside, and it lines up with this raw edge. And I'm going to take my pin out and stitch. I'm literally just going to stitch and turn. So I'm going to go like 1 or 2 stitches, slightly turn, 1 or 2 stitches, slightly turn, so that as you go, and go very slow, you don't have to go fast at all. 1 or 2 stitches. I actually, when I do this, I'll take the speed on my sewing machine and turn it down because I tend to have a lead foot. So, but yeah, literally just 1 or 2 stitches and then turn it so that your foot stays on that edge as you go around. But then as you go, that's another reason to go slow, is because as you turn it, this bottom piece, you notice it's already starting to it bunches up, and it's going to try and fold on you. So you got to make sure that as you're working around, you're pulling this side up to make sure that it stays flat as you work your way around. So when you get it all the way stitched around, it's going to look like this. This one's already pressed, but it's going to look like this. And you want to actually trim. I use Karen K. Buckley's, but you can use, as long as you have a sharp point on your scissors, that's what really matters. And every 1/2 inch or so, give or take, you want to snip it. And obviously you don't want to snip your seam. You just want to go just before that seam. And that allows, when you press it, it allows the fabric room to shift. Because when you press them in the opposite direction, some of it's going to want to go out and some of it's going to want to overlap. So then I always press the seam open so that it literally looks just like that when the seam is pressed open. And you can see how some pieces want to go out and some want to overlap on the inside. And that allows you to get a nice flat square. And then I always do the ruler test. Is you take your 6.5 inch ruler and set it over top, and you get that straight edge every single time. And like I said, as long as this edge stays together, then you will get that perfect straight edge for your circles. Are there any questions?
Right.
I assume you're writing notes.
I am taking so many notes for myself. Rona, this was amazing. I have a couple of questions about the seam.
I'm trying to start that. Okay.
Yeah. Does it matter which side you sew on? So do you put the curved piece on top when you're stitching, or do you put that on the bottom?
So I always put the smaller piece on the top, and because it's easier to keep control of it as you work around if that small piece is on the top. Like I said, you just have to remember that this bottom one is going to want to fold on you as you go around. So you just keep like pulling it as you go around to make sure that the seam stays flat.
Yeah. And so the tip on snipping around the curve is great. Someone asked if you could use pinking shears.
You mean pinking shirt, like pinking it all the way around like the curve?
Instead of doing snips into it. With your seam allowance, I feel like that's not enough seam allowance, and you might snip your threads, your stitches. That's my only concern with doing that. But
yeah, I'm not sure if it would work or not. I've never done it, but so you could certainly try it and see if it works. But my only concern would be, like I said, some of these want to, especially like on the inside of the arc, they want to overlap. So if it's pinked, I'm not sure if that's enough space for them to overlap or not. I'm not sure, but I may have to try that just to find out, because that's a good question.
I know. Look, we even stumped Rona. Who knew that was possible? Now, Rona, thank you so much. I am going to real quick, because we're going to pop up real quick. Let me pull it up. Rona, you are offering Cutter 15 is the code, gives you 15% off on Rona's website. What are some of the things that they can find on your website real quick?
So my website is actually, I'm the traveling quilter. So I have lists on there of the lists are all free, but there's quilt shops by state, shows around the world, quilt museums around the world, quilt retreat centers in every state, all kinds of information about quilting related travel. But in the shop, I have I have several books. I have a couple journals. I have lots of patterns, t-shirts, fun, different t-shirts, all kinds of, there's mugs, there's all kinds of fun little things on there.
Yeah, so go check out her website. And then I did drop her YouTube channel in the chat a few times. So you've got some new followers. So much praise for the tips that you shared today. Truly, like, everybody's so excited. And one lady was like, my mind is beyond expanding with all I've learned so far today. And we're like halfway through our day. So
that's awesome.
I told you we were going to learn a lot today, and the next day, and the next day. So
I've been learning already too. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Friendly reminder, this is recorded live, but after the live is over, it'll live on our YouTube channel. So you can go back and watch all of Missy's tips, Rona's tips, and everything else we're sharing today. So if you need to replay that. Now, Rona, I have a couple things as I was watching what you were doing. And I feel like there's some Caterpillar products that might make trimming your pieces a little easier. I'm just going to throw it out there for you. Some suggestions.
Like I said, I do have the glow. I just wasn't sure because of the light situation. I wasn't sure how well that would show up. But whenever I'm doing my small trimming and stuff like that, I always use my Caterpillar. Absolutely.
Well, I wanted to introduce, I don't know if you know about our Swivel, but this is a cutting mat. But because it has ball bearings in here, it rotates easily. But when you push down to cut, it won't move.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, I'm gonna have to get that.
Have like mixed emotions about rotating cutting mats, because even when you push down, it'll still want to spin as you're cutting. But this one won't. And it's got a really nice thick mat on it. So I just wanted to point that out to you if you were, because as you're saying, oh, it's hard to keep it in place as you're moving it around. Swivel. And by the way, the Swivel is one of my giveaway items on my spin to win wheel. So maybe we'll give one of those away later. And then on your ruler, as you gave some great tips about how to hold and place your ruler to keep stability. We have a couple of tools that help people with that. And some people had commented that, they get so nervous using a rotary cutter because it'll jump the ruler and they've cut themselves. We're all guilty of it. It happens. It's so not fun.
I got the scar. Yeah.
On my thumb. But we have these little mini clamps.
Oh, so see, I haven't seen those either. Oh my God.
They weren't on the website for a little bit because we couldn't ship them with our new shipping, but now they are. They come in a 2-pack mini clamps. They are like a really tight suction. They will suction right to your ruler. And so if you have a smaller ruler or like a 3-inch ruler, these mini ones are great. Now, a lot of people love our Clamp Light. I'm going to show it to you. It's not available right now, but it is coming back and it will be back very soon. So I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. This is our Clamp Light. It's great for the bigger rulers. You clamp it down, but it also has a little, you see that? A little light. It casts the perfect shadow for a line to follow next to it. And it has like light settings. So, and this one's bigger. So again, ergonomic, good wrist position, keeping your hand up off the ruler while still giving pressure to keep it still. So you don't have to worry about and being scared of using rotary cutters. So again, I just want to share those little tools that we have.
When people use their, I love that. But when people use just their palm, it can, I mean, depending on how much cutting you're doing, that can cause some damage to your wrist. And then it gets really sore and everything. So yeah, definitely the ergonomic, you want straight wrist as much as possible. Absolutely. Very cool.
This is the Clamp Light. It's coming back. So be patient with us. You guys sold it out over the holidays and we've been trying to get new ones in. So it just takes some time, but these little minis are back in stock. You can get those.
So I love those because those are perfect travel size. And you know, I'm all about the travel stuff. So,
and they fit perfectly on that 3-inch wide ruler and you could do more than one if you have a ruler like this.
Looks like I've got some shopping to do.
A few things that'll make your experience easier, not just for you, but for all of the people that are tuning in and watching. Thank you again. Now we do have one quick thing. You were doing a giveaway. Can you tell us what they're going to win? This is for one of our VIP registers.
So this is, and it's perfect timing too, because spring is springing essentially. So this is the bucket list journal. So the bucket list or bucket list challenge, sorry. So this is it's like a journal. There's 3 different sections and there's 3 challenges in each section. Some of them are in your sewing room and some of them are outside your sewing room, but there's all kinds of like creativity prompts in there and like a color of the month, a word of the month, animal of the month, stuff like that. And then plenty of room for you to doodle and draw and record and all that stuff. So this is the free giveaway.
I love it. All right. So we have picked a winner from our VIP list. So if you didn't register for VIP, you're definitely going to want to go do that so you can be eligible for our other special prizes. But this is for one of our VIP winners. And this is for the Quilters Bucket List Journal. And I am excited to say congrats to Jane in Massachusetts. You're the winner, and we will be sending this out to you next week. So be looking for that in the mail straight from Rona herself. So thank you, Rona, for donating that as a giveaway. That is awesome. But if anybody wants this journal for themselves, they can go find it over on your website. And you can absolutely use the code Cutter15 to get 15% off.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, everybody is just so grateful for all of your amazing tips, myself included. And Rona, thank you so much. We will see you next time.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.
All right. So we are running a few minutes behind schedule, which happens when we're having so much fun. But next up is we're going to do Melody real quick. She's back in the Caterpillar studio. She's got a special discount on our flip and folds that I want her to share with you because we've had several people win flip and folds today in our spin the wheel. And then we'll pass on over to Gina, who's waiting so patiently in the background. I can see her down there. And Gina is from Poppy Cotton and she's got a fun demo. So I know you guys are like learning all the things, but get some caffeine in you, get a coffee. I've got my soda right here to keep going. We're going to keep learning and let's say hi to Melody.
Hi guys. Hi.
She's back.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great.
Listen, right. I am not getting any work done today. I am just watching all of this and I would like Rana to come to my house and just help me with all of my stuff. Missy too. Like I haven't gotten any work done.
That's kind of the point. Which
is awesome.
Hump day, fun day. But fun. You have a special deal on our flip and fold. So I'm going to let you share that and then I'll hop on at the end and we'll do a quick spin to win.
Tell me, yes, before I start, so I don't ramble, tell me when Gina's coming back at.
She's here now. She's ready to go. So
hi, Gina in the background.
She's got her coffee. She's ready to go. So her segment should be starting in about 3 minutes, but
okay.
Give them the information they need. We can always recap it at the end.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay, perfect. I got you. Thank you, Bethany. Thank you for all that extra. Hello again, everybody. Listen, I'm going to quickly go over our flip and folds and our special on our flip and folds during our event for the next 3 days. And then we'll turn it back over to Gina. I'll just do it really quick. And then I'll be back after Gina and to talk about another bundle and a big prize that we have at the end of today. And I can talk a little bit more about them then. I just want to do it quick. I see that Doris asked a question really quick. I want to answer. She wants to know where the VIP list. If you guys go to cutterpillar.com, click on the top banner that's talking about our live events. You can click on there and you can join the VIP list. So please listen, there's more giveaways coming over the next couple of days. You'll get an email with a special discount code, whereas a VIP, you get a little better discount code, all of that. So please go join the VIP list if you haven't yet, because there's lots of fun stuff happening. So do that. Bethany just put the link in there. So, okay, that's our first thing. Second thing, I have to tell you, I've been crafting my whole life. My mother was a quilter. She was a hand embroider quilter. She always had quilt frames up because then she would hand quilt all the quilts. We always did all kinds of crafts. She would take me to classes and all that stuff. And I'm telling you what, this is my very favorite cutting mat that I've ever had. And there's a few reasons for it. So I'm going to show you first our flip and fold mini cutting mat and how that works. Actually, no, I'm going to swap that. I'm going to show you the big one first. This is the thing though, guys. I got so excited about the event today. I don't know, for those of you that were here when we first started, I put the wrong contact lenses in, so I can't see very well today. So I might have to pop my glasses on. So, you know, some days you're good and some days you're not. So anyway, let me switch this camera and I'm going to show you the first thing that is so great about, see, I can't even see that. That is so great about our flip and fold. So this is our bigger one. This is our flip and fold 48. So the thing that is so great of this is you have multiple sizes of cutting mats in one. So first of all, you can cut on this grid is 11 by 17. So the grid is 11 by 17, but we've made the mat a little bit bigger. So it's a true measurements of 17 by 11. So you can cut over that. So let's say you're at a class, or let's say you're at a retreat, or let's say you're over at a friend's house and you start cutting something on your 11 by 17. And then you think, oh, it's not big enough. My mat, I didn't bring big enough mat. Watch this. The best thing is flip it open. Now it's bigger. Now you can cut on this side. It's 17 by 22. There's a little trick on it. There's one puzzle piece on this side and there are two puzzle pieces on this side. Always start where there's two puzzle pieces. Flip it open and then you have your 17 by 22. Look at that bigger cutting mat. Now let's just say that you need, oh my gosh, Sue Davis, you've put two contact lenses on top of each other. I just have to say, my best friend Keisha and I were at a quilt show in Lakeland, Florida last week, and she did the exact same thing. I've done it before too. It's so funny. Anyway, so this is, you can do 17 by 22. Then let's say you need a little bit more space. Let's say you're at your sewing club or you're at, again, a class or retreat. You can open it up to 17 by 48. Check this out. 17 by 48. This is so great for strips and things like that. You can cut that. Just make sure that your little puzzle pieces are snapped together and then you are nice and flat and you can cut on this size. But wait, there's more. This one opens up to 36 by 48. See, at my house, my craft room does not have a big cutting table. It doesn't have a big one. And so I always have to pull my mat out to go do cutting on the dining room table. And this is what my mat used to look like when how many of you guys have this problem when you try to store your mats and they curl up and you can't ever get that curl back out? It's very frustrating. So the first thing is that's not going to happen with this one because you can fold it out and then you can fold it back up. So now I can take my cutting mat off of the dining room table and we can actually have dinner once in a while. Not that I do it very often, because I can take it off of there and you can fold it back up. So when you fold it back up, the thing that's so great about the big one is you can store it on your shelf. So you don't have to have it out all of the time. You can put it away. You don't need it out. You can bring it out when you need it, and then you can put it away. Now, we do have the mini as well. The mini works the same as the big one, right? So you start at your, where your double puzzle pieces are on this side. This one does the same thing. So it opens up, it starts at 8.5 by 11. It opens up to 11 by 17. It opens up to 11 by 36. And then it also opens up to 24 by 36. So look at that. This one is so great. Make sure your puzzle pieces are snapped in. Again, make sure they're snapped together and then you're nice and flat. This one is so great. This one is perfect for traveling. So you can take this with you so easily. I had it on the airplane over the weekend. when I went to the sewing show. It was amazing. So I know I'm trying to get through this really quick. I'm really sorry. I'm flubbering. But anyway, so those are our 2 flip and folds. This one you can fit in your purse. You can fit it in a bag. We do have a tote bag that it fits in that we'll go over later today as well. But this is your mini flip and fold. And then this is your big flip and fold. So we call them the 48 and the 36 because this one goes to 36 by 48 and this one goes to 24 by 36. So what's the deal? Like we always want to have a deal for you, right? What's the big deal? So this is the thing. During our live event, you guys have your coupon codes that you can use. You can use March Live coupon code. You get 15% off of Caterpillar products at caterpillar.com. These are on special. If you put both of them in your cart, you put your big one in the cart, the 48 and the 36 in your cart, you will get half price on the 36. So you will take $65 off of your total to get half price on the 36. But you know what else you can do? Use that coupon code. So you can get an extra 15% off. If you signed up for the VIP and got your email, you have a coupon code for that. You can get 20% off extra. So put them both in your cart. The buy one, get one 50% off is going to go automatically onto your order. And then you can use your coupon code and you can get 15% off or more just by doing that. Whoa! How is that so fast? Isn't that great? So someone asked how much they weigh. This one weighs about 1.5 pounds. And this one weighs about 3 pounds. Like they're really, really not heavy at all. Super lightweight, super easy to use, super easy to take around, flip them open, close them back up. We can go over them a little bit more in detail. The material is a little bit different. It's made a little bit different than typical self-healing cutting mats. So we'll talk about that a little bit when I come back after I'm excited to see Poppy Cotton after that. And then we'll answer all of your questions about the flip and fold. Bethany is taking all of the notes for all of the questions. So stay tuned. Stay tuned through Poppy Cotton, and then I will come back at the end and we'll answer all of your flip and fold questions, talk about it a little bit more, and then talk about the bundle special for today and the big giveaway that we've got going on.
All right. So some great questions, valid questions in the chat about the flip and fold. So we will definitely talk about that and dive in deeper. But with Gina waiting, we definitely want to jump to Gina. But before we do, what time is it?
I think it's a spin the win time.
All right, let's do a quick spin to win, and let's see what we're gonna win.
Okay. Here we go. Spin to win. Spin to win.
Big money. Oh my gosh, we're gonna give away another flip and fold. Flip and fold 48. Right.
I feel like someone snuck into your house while we were doing this fun event and like weighted your spinny board so that it always will land on this.
You know what? I filled all of these in and I test spun it and it landed on something different every time until we go live. Okay. So
I love it so much. That's so funny. So
all right. So we're gonna do a spin to win for the flip and fold. What should be our question?
48. Okay. So I would like to know how many of you have gone to a class or an event or something and had the wrong size cutting mat with you? Put a number 1 in the chat if you've ever done something like that or gone to your friend's house or even just like, tell me this. I mean, like in my craft room, my table is not so big. So I always lose my cutting mats under my table, under all my stuff, under all the projects that I'm working on. Then you can't find it. You can't pull it out. You can't use it. So put a number 1 in the chat if you've had any of those scenarios happen. Either you had the wrong size mat at a class, wrong size mat at your house, wrong size mat at a retreat, anything like that. Put a number 1 in.
Just warped from trying to transport it to something.
Or that. Yes. We're going to talk more about that later. But yes. So we're going to have a winner.
All right. I'm picking a random one. You got to get your comment in the chat. Ready? And stop. Who is this? Joyce.
Yay.
Let me write this down.
Joyce. Please send me an email to
I'm
Melody.
Going to put it on the screen in just a second.
We'll put it on the screen here in just a second. Bethany's got to take her notes. But if you send me an email to melody@caterpillar.com, Melody with 2 E's, MELODEE @caterpillar.com. Give me your name and address, and please remind me that we spun the wheel and you won the flip and fold 48, and we will get all the prizes shipped out next week.
Awesome. Congrats, Joyce.
Congrats.
I think I may take the flip and folds off and put something else in there again, just to duplicate, like, so we're not, just to change it up.
Just to change it up. I think that's a great idea.
Because maybe I need to start it at a different point.
No, I'm telling you, I think that you had someone sneak in your house and like wait it up so that we give those
Maybe.
away.
I mean, there's some really good stuff on here, so you're not going to miss out if I take them off. I promise. Thank you,
That's
Melody.
true.
I'll see you back in a little bit.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Appreciate you. All right, guys, you're up for a treat. I'm going to bring Gina on. Hi, Gina. All right, let me unmute. Hold on. There we go.
How are you?
I'm good. We're having so much fun.
Need I say anything about that sweatshirt? Like, wow.
They've been talking about it. They've been talking about it. They've been asking
I
about
love it.
For those who don't know, this is all of Poppy Cotton's Home Sweet Home fabric line. They sent me a fat quarter bundle and I made the quilt block first. And there's a YouTube video on my channel. Craft with Bethany is my YouTube channel. I'll put it in the chat in a minute to just do the quilt block with the embroidery. So it's super fun. But I'm working on the tutorial to do quilted sleeves on a sweatshirt, and that'll be posted next week. I'm saying that here so you hold me accountable to it. It's my editing.
They're fabulous.
That's my favorite part.
I'm going to have to make me one. I
So
love it.
cute. And I have so much fabric left over, so I'm sure I'll make something else with all of it. But you're going to be showcasing your beautiful fabrics. I love Poppy Cotton fabrics so much. And Gina is actually one of the owners of Poppy Cotton. So we're so grateful to have you here to show us your fabrics, but also do a little English paper piecing with us.
Yes. I
We've
just
done
thought,
a
yeah.
lot today. We've done foundation paper piecing. We've done perfect points. We've sewn with curves, Y seams, and now we're going to learn English paper piecing. So I know you guys have learned a lot.
That's
like
a lot.
Get some caffeine. I told you these are fun packed full days that we're going to learn. And again, you can watch the replay when we're all done and the live ends. It'll live on our YouTube channel. So take some notes. You're going to learn a lot from Gina. Gina, take as much time as you need. I will make notes of all of their questions and I'll jump in at the end and we can answer them. But I'm going to pass it on over to you.
Okay, perfect. I'll try to keep this as simple as possible because, you know, anything with paper, right, we can sometimes end up not loving. So the first thing that you'll need, well, these are little tins and we buy them at like antique places. They're little jelly molds. They're vintage, of course, but you can also, I've got other little, you can find other little things. So we're making a pin cushion and it's got these little hexes on. So these are English paper pieced. So you'll want to, first off, you'll want to have a circle and your circle is about 8 inches and you can cut that out of any fabric. I suggest that you actually do something that contrasts like with your hexie. So we'll be doing this hexie. So once you've got your circle, you can take your pieces of paper and you can buy these in all kinds of sizes. These are actually 1/2 inch size and that's what we're going to be using. So they're little.
Hey,
now
Gina. I'm sorry to interrupt. I see I don't see the down on your thing. I don't think the other device is connected.
Is it not connected?
No.
Oh, you know what?
There it is. Now it's coming on.
Is
All right.
it on now?
I just want to add that to stage. So let me do that. I'm going to remove myself and I'll add that and then I'll make sure that they can see. So
Is it going now?
it is. Give me 1 second to put it up.
I just had to push a button.
Okay,
so I don't know if you saw, but I have this circle. This is an 8-inch circle. And then we're doing these paper pieces, which are 1/2 inch. And I'm going to place it on these are 1.5 inch. And I'm just going to trim it. I want 1/4 inch all the way around my little hexie here. And then I want to use as little glue as possible. So I like this sew line. And I'm going to just put a little, I don't want it on the edge of the paper because that's where I'm stitching. And I'm going to glue that. And so I just do it a little bit, almost towards the end of the fabric, because remember, we're pulling these pieces of fabric out. And I'm just barely gluing that all the way around. And so once I get that on, and remember, you can fussy cut these. And I actually like to make several at a time. I've got like this little bin full. And so once I've got that on, these are all glued. And like I said, you want to use as little glue as possible. And then you'll actually set them up to create what you would do for your little flower. So I put these in the positions that I want. And just make them, I mean, totally random. Maybe I want that up there. And then, let's see what I have. Maybe this one. This one. Something like this. Anyways, you'll set them up like this. And I've actually stitched this to the point because I want to show you how to stitch this. I actually use the sew line. This is a very thin thread and a thin needle so that I can stitch these together. So I'll put this on. And when I'm stitching, I'll want to go from this corner out to the edge.
Can you move your hands closer into there? There we go. I know it's easy to hold it close.
Can you see that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, what I'm doing is I always do a little loop. I grab a little piece of both sides of the hexie and I do a loop and a slip knot in the corner. And remember, I'm going out from the edge to this edge. So I'm just doing a big stitch to get to my outside edge. And you guys, I'm blind. Wow. So let me pop on my glasses and this will help me. So I'm going out to my edge, grabbing a little bit of each piece. Let me push that over so you guys can see. Okay, I'm on my corner again. So I'm going to do a loop and slip that through so it's knotted. Now I'm going back and I keep these pretty close together, like 1/16 of an inch. It's tiny because you've only got tiny papers that you're doing. And you're just taking a little bit from each side of your fabric edge all the way to your corner. Remember, we already did our slip knot in the corner. So this time we just do a plain stitch. Now, when I go to turn, this is what I wanted to show you. My paper can fold. So I get into that corner. Again, I'm on my corner and I'm going to take a little bit of fabric from each side, do my loop, loop that through, knot it, and then do my tiny stitches. Yes?
Do you mind tilting your camera a little closer to you? Because I know you've got to hold it close to be able to see because you're hand stitching.
Like
but if
this?
you can turn your, yeah, if you don't mind, or you can move your camera closer to you so it's easier for you to see and for them. That would be amazing because I know you're doing very delicate work.
Can they see? Is that close enough? Can you see that? Where I'm grabbing from each side?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a clear picture, but I'll slow it down here. So I'm grabbing a little bit from each side. And I'm just doing a whip stitch across. I only want to grab a little piece of fabric from each side so that my stitches don't show on the front, because when I flip it over, they'll be hidden on the back. The bigger you stitch, the more they'll show in the front. Okay, I'm coming to my corner. Remember what we do, a little loop. You see my loop, and I'm pulling that through to create a knot. Again, I'm going to my final edge. Again, this is another corner, so I grab those edges, do that loop, pull a knot, and I'm going to, again, go out to my edge with little stitches. And so keep going till we get to the end. Keep them close together. You'll feel yourself bump into the paper, but you want to just grab the fabric. And you'll go all the way out to your edge. And remember, we're going to finish it off by doing that little loop, catching it and doing a knot. I'm going to open it, and I'm going to do a little stitch just to kind of end it, a little running stitch through that piece of fabric. And then I'll just cut that. And that's it. So once I've got this, in fact, I'm going to use this one right here. We're going to, so this is all stitched. You can see all those stitches are hidden. And then you'll turn it over and you want to slip your fingernail or a sharp pair of scissors or a needle or something, but you're going to lift now your glue and you're going to lift out these pieces of paper. And so gently, you just wiggle those out and they'll come out like so. Kind of finger press that back in. When I finish taking out all of the papers, I'll actually go and press this. But you can see that they just kind of slip out. You used to stitch these papers in and then unstitch the stitches, and you can also do that. That works too. It just takes a little extra time. So either way, there's so many ways, different ways to do English paper piecing. This is my preferred way and the way that I can get it done quickly. I actually love to just sit and glue little hexies. You'll see that it comes out like this, but again, you just finger press where all your lines were. So you will continue to take all of those pieces of paper out. And I've got one that's already out. So this is out. All the papers have come out. And then I'm going to whip stitch this into the middle. Now I've got my circle. The way I can find my middle is by folding this in fourths, doing a little finger press in the middle. Let's see if I can set this right here. And then I'll press that down, and then I'm going to set that in the middle. Now you can either pin, I'll probably just do like a little bit of glue that on. You can also pin that if you want to. Now I love to do a French knot. If you know what a French knot is, you take your needle and the end, wrap it around a couple times, and slide it down. That's a French knot. And a French knot stays in. It doesn't come undone. So I'm going to put my knot on the back. And again, I'm going to do a little blind stitch and stitch on my hexies. So as I go down, your stitches don't have to be as little. They can be bigger than what I just did for my English paper piecing. And I'm just going to hide that. You're going straight down, you're coming up, you're grabbing a little piece of the hexie, and you're just doing a blind stitch. You can't see any of these stitches. Again, straight down, straight up, and all the way around. So you'll continue to stitch this on. But for time's sakes, I'm actually going to stop right there. Now this is my circle. And so I want to do a running stitch all the way around the edge, 1/4 inch, which I've done with this needle. And I'm coming towards the end. And I am going to, and these are big stitches, like, 1/4 inch. And so once I get to the end, this is what's going to cinch. Now for this threading and pulling and cinching this in, I use a thick quilting thread because it needs to be thick so that you can actually pull this up. Now as you're pulling this up, you're going to want to stuff. And so you'll take a little bit of stuffing and you'll stuff this until it's fairly firmly stuffed. But one of the things I keep doing while I stuff is I continue stitching. Because when I stitch, I make my gathers strong. So I will go over the top of what I've already stitched, and I just keep, see how I've got these gathers right here? And I'll just keep pulling my thread in and cinching that tighter and tighter so this all pulls up. And so you'll see that this, and I just keep going and pulling that in until I get a tiny, tiny little hole. You can see how I get that, like that. And then I'll do a whip stitch and a knot and finish that off. In fact, I'll just, don't quite have my hexie on, but I can go back at the end and put that on. So this is all cinched up and finished. And that's really it. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put some glue on the inside of my little jelly pen, and I'm going to glue this inside, just like so, so that I end up with this cute little hexie and these cute little pins. And that's basically it. So English paper piecing is all about taking a little tiny piece of paper and covering it with a cute piece of fabric. And so, like I said in the beginning, if you miss, I trimmed this 1/4 inch all the way around that hexie. And I want to make sure I have enough so that when I glue it, those edges are folding over. I'll show you, this is a 1.5 inch square and this is a 1/2 inch hexie. And you can see I'm not too careful, and those edges will fold over very nicely all the way around. And that's how you'll make a little paper hexie like this. So there you go. That's kind of it. That's our little project, and that's our English paper piecing. You can do all kinds of things with these. And so, Bethany, are you there?
I'm here.
I'm
That
thinking
was great.
Giveaway. Do you have any questions?
We had a couple questions, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So one person asked, like, there was a lot of chat about where to get the English paper piecing shapes. And so we talked about getting pre-cut ones that you can order from different places and people carry them. What type of paper, cards, some people use scrap. Like, so do you have any preferences of where you like to get your hexies or other?
You can find these at quilt shops a lot. I mean, not everyone carries them, but quilt shops do carry them. And there's certain people, like if you felt like Sue Daly has a brand out. But honestly, it's a little thicker than a regular paper, but it's not as thick as cardstock. And you can reuse it. Like you can pull it out and you can reuse it. So they're pretty easy to find. A lot of people carry these. I mean, in all shapes and sizes. This is just one size.
Yeah.
Tons.
And you use like a teeny tiny one. So would you recommend for someone who's just starting English paper piecing, do you find it easier to work with the smaller pieces, or should they start with maybe a bigger piece?
It's always easier to do bigger, right? Anything tiny is more, I mean, it's just more intense work. But I mean, this is a little beginner project. I've taught beginners.
And that smaller pieces tend to stitch up faster. So there's like pros and cons to both, right? For sure. So I'm wearing fabrics from Poppy Cotton, but do you have any there that you can maybe show us?
Yes, because this is the bundle that we're going to be giving away. So I wanted to show that. It's so cute, right?
Oh, my
really
sleeve.
Cute. And it's on, all those pieces are on your sweatshirt, which is so adorable. And then it's got this, we'll send this quilt pattern.
Oh, are you sending that as well?
You can make this. Amazing. You just need the background for it.
Awesome.
So this is what we're giving away, and I'm excited.
I know. So this little fat quarter bundle is not little. There's a lot of pieces in it. Like I went through and cut
let's see.
all of this and have so much left over.
Yeah, it was about 22, I think.
22 fat quarter pieces in this bundle called Home Sweet Home. Now, before we give this bundle away to one of our amazing VIP registrants that signed up, we have some questions on where they can find Poppy Cotton fabric. So I know on your website you can search for a quilt shop or dealer near you.
Yeah, there's a little button that says where to buy.
Yes.
And those quilt shops are listed. And so there's brick and mortar, there's online. Yeah, just even put in Poppy Cotton and those shops.
So someone said there wasn't a shop near me. And I was like, well, a lot of shops will sell online. So you can still look and order online. But you are going to love Poppy Cotton fabrics. All of their lines are so fun. Their
quality is beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. I'm actually teaching 2 sewing retreats this year, and Gina and Lori have sponsored all of our projects for Poppy Cotton. So I've got bolts of it. I've got jelly rolls and pre-cuts and bundles, and I am so excited. So
you guys are going to be playing for days.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. So thank you. So let's give away this fat quarter bundle. Not a spin to win. I don't know who put that up on the screen. There you go. We'll do that in a minute. This is a VIP giveaway for someone who won. And so I'm going to put that up on the screen for us myself because I already plugged it in. Let me find it. Here we go. All right. So our winner for our fat quarter bundle is Lisa Foche of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Congratulations. You're going to get this beautiful Home Sweet Home Fat Quarter Bundle from Poppy Cotton. Thank you so much, Gina.
Congratulations, Lisa. Excited to see what you make.
I know. You have to tag Poppy Cotton. You have to tag Caterpillar. We want to see too. But congratulations. Lisa was one of our VIP members that won this giveaway. So again, if you haven't signed up for VIP, you need to go do it because we're doing big giveaways every single day. And you'll get an extra discount on products as well. So awesome.
I'm so excited about all your new things that I was privy to watch behind the scenes. I was so excited about all those mats and
I know.
Wow.
We're excited. Lots of fun stuff happened this year. Thank you. Thank you. And we are so grateful to you for coming on and giving us an introduction to English paper piecing. It's something that I have barely dabbled into, but the more that I travel, I keep thinking I really need to get into it more because it's the perfect, like someone said, it's the perfect craft on the go when you're sitting in a waiting room, the carpool line, on an airplane, at the airport. You know, that we've got a lot of downtime, and I'd rather be doing that than scrolling on my phone. So I need to get into it more. Thank you for sharing that introduction and into your beautiful fabrics, and thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. All right, guys. Woo! We are in the home stretch. Hang in there with us. Just a little bit more to go. Melody is going to be back with some more demos for you guys. We have some, by the way, if you're familiar with Caterpillar, you know that we love our bundles. We bundle our products together so that it makes it easier for you to shop and figure out what you need based on the type of sewing, quilting, or crafting that you do. With that being said, we've made some new bundles because as you heard earlier today, we have new products. And so Melody's going to go over our new bundle. So let me bring her to stage. Hi, Melody.
Hi again.
You ready to wrap this thing up?
I don't want to wrap it up though. Is that weird? Is that bad? Like I'm
caffeinated now. Let's keep going.
I know. I just finished my big soda, so I'm ready to roll too. I want that fabric and that pattern that she showed. I want to make it. Like I want to make a theme.
I'm telling you, you're gonna, if you get Poppy Cotton fabric, you're gonna want to make all the things with it, and you're gonna end up wanting to wear it because it is so pretty. And the quality is, I mean, I've washed this I don't know how many times. I wear it all the time, and I'm obsessed.
I know you do. I've seen you wear it all the time.
I love it. It's so cozy. It's so cozy. Okay.
I have this problem. I have this personal problem that when I go to shows, because I get to travel around the country. So if any of you guys are ever at a quilt show, please come say hi. But and people have been, which is so nice when they do. But I have this problem that when I am across from a booth and they've got quilts up and they've got kits and I buy all the things. And now I need to buy all the things. I need to buy Missy's patterns. I need to buy Rana's books, and I need to buy Poppy Cotton now.
Oh yeah. And with those 3 things right there, you're going to be able to make some amazing stuff because they all
Yes.
gave us such great tips.
'Cause my favorite thing to do is get like a fat quarter bundle like that because everything coordinates and I can do, I don't have to think about it so much. I love that.
Exactly. Which is exactly what I did with this shirt. I did just this part first, and then I was like, and just by itself, I'm like, oh, that's cute.
That's
But then I was like, it needs another pop, and I had all this extra fabric. So
it needs a pop of poppy cotton.
all right, I will drop Poppy Cotton's website in the chat in just a second. We're going to talk about new bundles. And
yeah,
then
well, I would like to, before we do the new bundle that I want to talk about, we're going to talk about that. I just want to do a little bit more on the flip and folds that we talked about a little while ago.
We're going to do flip and folds. We're going to talk about the new bundle. And then we'll do another spin to win. And then we'll do our big grand prize at the very end. So we're in the home stretch. Hang in there with us. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat. All right, Melody, you're up.
All right. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the flip and folds. We didn't want to keep Gina here waiting on us for too long. We do have a special on our flip and fold cutting mats right now. You can get them. There's a special, like it's kind of a 2-for special, which like we want all the things, right? So if you put both flip and fold cutting mats, the 48 and the 36 into your shopping cart, the 36 will automatically be 50% off. 50% off on the 36. That's saving $65 on those 2 items. Then you can also use your March Live 15% off coupon code and get another 15% off of your entire order of Caterpillar products on our website. So do that. You guys, it's so amazing. So I'm going to show you how the flip and folds work quickly again one more time. But then I just want to talk about why they're so awesome. More reasons why they're so awesome. So if you start out with your mini flip and fold, let me see if I can switch this here. Our mini flip and fold, this is our mini one. It's 8.5 by 11. We made the grids a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller than the actual. Okay, let me rewind. I've had too much caffeine today. Our measurement grid, our 8.5 by 11 is actually 8.5 by 11. When you go buy an 8.5, a 9 by 12 cutting mat, the entire mat is 9 by 12 and the measuring stuff does not go as big as the mat says it is. So we made sure that the mat size is a little bit bigger than the grid size. So when we say it's 8.5 by 11, you actually can measure 8.5 by 11 instead of, like, I don't know, like 7 by 10.5 or something like that. Anyway, so your first one is 8.5 by 11. There's a little trick to open these. There's 1 tab on this side. There's 2 tabs on this side. Always start with your 2 tabs. So then you can flip that open and you can cut on your 17 by, or not your 17, sorry, your 11 by 17. Then you can flip it over again and you can cut strips and things like that out on your 11 by 36. There are these little puzzle pieces. If you make sure to snap that puzzle piece, then it stays nice and flat and you don't have any issues with cutting across your seams or anything like that. Then you also have, if you open it one more time, it's 24 by 36. So this is our mini one. And like I showed you, if you make sure that these little pieces are snapped together, and then you're totally fine. So the thing that is so cool about this material and these cutting mats, let alone the fact that you can fold them up and they don't take up all the space. They're made by a new material called TPE. It's a self-healing material. It is also non-toxic, which is really great. So if you cut it with a laser in your house, you're not going to get all the fumes. Now, the reason I say that is because we tried to cut it with a laser. Well, we tried to cut our regular cutting mats with a laser in our offices, and we had to open all the windows and all the doors and air the whole thing out. If you were to do that on here, not that you're going to, but because it's non-toxic, let's say you're a cake decorator and you need to trim out your little fondant pieces, or let's say you have grandkids or kids crawling around your house and they start chewing on your mat, they're not going to get sick. So it's a non-toxic material, which is really, really great. But the other thing is, how many of you guys, tell me how many of you guys have left your cutting mats in your car? And what happens when we leave our cutting mats in the car? This. We did a little test. This is what happens when you leave your cutting mats in the car. They warp, right? I've done it. I'm sure everyone has done it. This is just so frustrating because you can never use them again. So we put our cutting mats in the cars. I think I lost the one. Anyway, this won't happen to your cutting mat. This will not happen to it. This will stay nice and flat and you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to try to lean it up against the wall and get the curve in it that you can never get out again. Guys, these are the best things because they stay flat. They stay really good. Jack's crawling around in here trying to find the, here's, okay, thank you. Jack's crawling around on the floor, everybody. I don't know if you can see him, but he's crawling around on the floor. This is the cutting mat that we left in the car. See, we've got the notation on it, the same as the other ones. This is the one that we left in the car. It's super flat. It does not get, it doesn't get warped. So that's it. And then guys, when you need to put them away, you can just put them away. So put them away on your shelf, put them away in your tote bags, put them away. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to lean them against the wall. So those are our flip and fold. Our flip and fold special today. Actually, flip and fold special is for the whole event. So you don't have to order it today. Someone just asked the question, if you have to order every single day, you can. It's totally fine. We have free shipping on our website over $98. As long as your order is over $98, you get shipping for free. So you can. We do have limited supplies on some of our specials. So if you want to order it today, that's great. If you want to wait till the end of the event, the discount codes are active for the entire event. So either way is totally fine. You guys decide. Sometimes it's fun to order more than once because then you get Christmas more days than just one. I enjoy doing that. I like packages showing up at my house because it makes my husband a little bit crazy. So I try to do it as often as I can. So that is super funny. So Edie, I'm so glad you got the mini clamps into your cart. Beautiful. I love that. Okay. So we're going to talk about bundles. We're going to talk about our special bundle today. This bundle actually was inspired by Missy. Little Green Bean, Missy, who was here earlier today. If you guys didn't get a chance to see what she did today, she did foundation paper piecing. She showed you how to do it. Now I think that I can probably do it. After we're done here, this video is going to be on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it. Fantastic demo that she did this morning. But she has, this is all of her favorite products, except it's upgraded with our newest light board. If you guys were here earlier today as well, Jack showed us all the new features of our newest light board. So this we're still calling our bestseller bundle, even though it's a different light board than was our bestseller. But it's kind of Missy's favorite bundle as well, because we have updated it with the new light board. So here's our new light board. This bundle includes our new Glow Premium 2. So this is the Glow Premium 2. There are some features of the Glow Premium 2 that are a little bit different than the other ones. First, our original one. So first of all, you have this molded base right here. So this stays nice and secure inside here. It is super, super durable because of that. And it's pretty lightweight. So it's super durable and lightweight. It's built, our original ones are an acrylic laminate. They're fantastic. If you have one, it's amazing. This was just built a little bit different. So this is the newest one. Then the other thing about this one compared to the current ones is this cutting mat covers the entire board. It goes across the whole thing. It covers all the way to the edge. Our current ones only have the gridded area that only lights the light, which is totally fine. Again, if you have one like that, it's totally fine. But I can tell you what, when I cut on my regular one, I'll slip off the mat frequently. It doesn't really hurt the board, but there's a couple of nicks in it now. It's super nice and the acrylic's super thick, but there's a couple of little marks in it. So anyway, so all of them that come with all of our cutting mats have a textured surface on the back. So that keeps it from slipping around. So it won't slide around when you're putting pressure down to cut on it. The cool thing about this one is it also has texture on the top. So it's a dual grip, non-stick thing. So check this puppy out. So when you've got your fabric on the top, it's not going to slip around much on the top either. It helps hold your fabric in place while you're doing your cutting. So it won't slip. My gosh, what's the word? It's like the worst thing ever to slip on stuff, right? When you're working on stuff. So it has both of those. It's got a dual grip cutting mat. So it's textured on the top and textured on the bottom. So it's super great. The other thing that is new about this Glow Premium 2, all of our original light boards have 3 levels of light. This one has 4. So it gets brighter and it has an extra level of light. So you've got your high, medium, and low, and off. And it's so much brighter than it used to be, you guys. I thought the other one was great and bright, and it really is. But this is so amazing. It gets even brighter than it ever did before. Now, the Glow Premium and why this one I think is one of Missy's favorites. I don't mean to speak for Missy, but one of the reasons this is her favorite is the Glow Premium is portable. So this has an internal rechargeable battery. You can use this off of the power cord for about 4 hours on high. So if you're going to a class, if you're going to a retreat, if you're going anywhere, you can totally not have to be plugged in. My gosh, how amazing is that? So that's the first item in our new bestseller bundle. So when you guys go to Caterpillar.com, you can look for bundles, or you can type in premium or type in bundles, and this will pop up and you will find it. It is on sale. This bundle is on sale on the website automatically right now at 5% off. So you're saving money on it no matter what, but you can also stack your coupon code this week for during our live event, and you can get an additional 15% off. Now, we talked about it a bunch of times. We're going to tell you again, go sign up for our VIP list for the event. You will get an additional discount. So you can use March Live and you can get 15% off of anything. If you go to our website, click on the banner, you can register for the event. You'll be registered for all the giveaways. You will also get a coupon code to your email, and you'll get an additional discount code. So you can use that. Now, you can't stack both coupon codes, but you can use your coupon code along with the products that are already discounted on Caterpillar.com. So let me flip this back around. I feel like you're just watching my hands talk instead of my face. So this is, okay, so part of the bundles. Oh, the other thing, I almost forgot. The other thing in the new feature.
Oh,
Bethany,
well, I had
my
some questions.
brain.
I had some
My
questions.
Okay.
Did you go through a couple questions real quick?
Yes, by all means.
Okay. One of the questions was, what size is the premium?
Okay, so the board itself is 13 by 19. The lighted area is about 11 by 17.
Mm-hmm.
So your
Someone
cutting mat
else
will cover the
asked,
whole board.
will the dual grip mat fit any of the other boards? So if they get this one, can they use the dual grip mat on any of the other boards?
You can't. We do not right now yet have this mat available on its own.
No.
We're working on an extra shipment of those, but yes. So if you get this with the dual grip mat, it'll work on the other board too. It's the same size. So the boards are all the same size. So that's totally fine.
And you can put it on half of the Ultra. So you could do half on the Ultra with the dual grip mat and the other half with the tempered glass mat. So you can have a cutting and pressing station.
You totally could.
I'm telling you, our products are built to work very well together. How long does it take to recharge? That was another question I was going to pop up.
So I tend to plug mine in the same way I do my cell phone at night after I've been using it all day, but it usually will just take about 45 minutes to an hour to charge up. There's a little light that'll come on and it switches colors so you can see, and then you know you're fully charged.
Red to green.
So our newest, this is the way to get the extra discount on the newest light board, because while you can use your coupon codes if you want to just get the light board, you can. If you bundle it, you've got that extra discount that's already included. So like I said, these are Missy's favorites. This is our best-selling products with our newest light board. So the next item that comes with this bundle is what you just mentioned, is our tempered glass mat. So with the glass mat, this is the one that you can swap out your cutting mat. You can put this on your board, and it's a great general crafting mat, but it also will take the heat of an iron, which is so great. It is so amazing for sewers and quilters, because you can lay your applique pattern out on here. You can iron right on top of it. Now, if you need to cut on the glass, your glass can take the cut. The glass will be fine. It won't scratch. It will dull your blade very quickly. So don't do that a lot. But you can if you need to. I've cut little things on it as I'm working on projects, but you can do that right on top of there. So when you are pressing your projects, you can iron right on top of here. Okay, so those two things are included in this best-selling bundle. This is the new best-selling bundle. The other product that's included is our tote bag. So both of these products will fit inside your tote bag. Your light board and your cutting mat and your glass mat will all fit inside here. The tote bag is double padded, so it's padded on both sides. It's got reinforced corners. It has a full pocket where you put your light board and everything. And look at that. It is not dark. It is bright green. So if you drop something in there, you are not going to lose it like the bottom of your purse. Maybe that's just a personal problem that happens with me all the time, but you don't have to worry about that. It's got another full pocket in the front. This is where I tend to keep my my projects, my patterns and my fabrics and things like that I'm working on. So when I take the whole thing somewhere, I have everything I need all together in one spot. It also has power cords. So a pocket for your power cords. So you can put your power cords inside here, which is so great. You can keep that in there. Jack also so smartly added this little tab right here. So this little tab, if you are traveling with this, you can slide it onto a suitcase or a rolly cart. So you're, because you always run out of arms when you're going into a class or retreat or something like that. So it comes with briefcase handles and also a shoulder strap. So all three of these items are included in the best-selling bundle, the new best-selling bundle. Make sure you go find new best-selling bundle because this is where you're going to get these products. Now there is one more product in our best-selling bundle, and it is super cool. So this is our Flex sewing machine light. This is also included in this bundle. So this light has 3 different light levels. Let me flip that around again for you. It's got 3 little light levels. You've got high, you've got medium, and you've got low. Now this comes with this little cradle. So there's this little cradle and there's a little piece of Velcro on the back, and this attaches to your sewing machine. Okay, so this part will attach to your sewing machine. Then this is rechargeable. The port is right here on the top. And then you will slide this onto your sewing machine. And then you can point this wherever you need the extra light. I almost always have it pointed on my needle because I cannot see when I'm threading my machine. So check this out. You can stick it right on your machine. You can stick it on the front. You can stick it wherever you want. This already has a little piece of Velcro in there. So I'm going to take this little Velcro off of this one. Because we already have one sticking there. So you can put it on the end here. You can put it up underneath. You can put it on the side. You can put it wherever. But then you can point your little light where you need that extra light. And you can see so much what you're doing. So this is our bestseller bundle. Our new bestseller bundle because it has our newest light board included in it. So go find it on our website. Look for the bundles. I think the link to the bestseller bundle is in the chat. Yes, New Glow Premium 2 bestseller bundle is in the chat. So you can go find it. It is already 50% off. No. 5% off. The flip and fold is 50% off. Bethany, I need so much more caffeine. Like I can't even tell you right now. I need caffeine in a margarita. So the bestseller bundle is on sale on our website at 5% off.
Yes.
But then you can stack your coupon code. You can use March Live and get an additional 15% off. If you signed up to our VIP list, you got a coupon code in your email. You can use that and get 20% off. So it's just, I can't. It's just so great. It's just so amazingly great. It's been so fun today, you guys.
I also just dropped the link. It's loading right now for the VIP sign up. So if you have
it's not too late.
It's not too late. You can sign up now. It's the way that we're giving away our special prizes and giveaways that are from our presenters and the big bundles that we're doing this week for Caterpillar. We're still going to do some random giveaways to anybody who's tuning in live, whether you signed up or not, from our spin to win. But our VIPs are getting an extensive discount. They're getting automatic entry to all of our VIP exclusive giveaways. You'll have access to all of the downloads, all the things. We've been sharing so much information with you guys today. But now that you've seen our new bestseller bundle, I mean, how excited are you? Like, it literally sets you up for anything that you've learned today. Truly.
Anything. Like anything. It's so great.
Someone said, and 2 more days of fun. Sue, yes.
2 more days. That's the thing, dude. This is just day 1. And I learned how to foundation paper piece. I learned how to English paper piece. I learned how to actually sew corners straight today. And I was supposed to be working while all of that was happening. And I did not. Don't tell the bosses. I wasn't working. I was watching.
Someone asked, will the mats be available again for the special? You mean the cutting mats?
Yeah.
Or
if you can let us know which you're talking about, that would be amazing. But
okay, they have the Flex Light and they love it.
We have to do one more thing before we go away, though. We're doing another thing before we go away.
Well, we're doing a couple more things.
Do you want to do the big thing first or the little thing first?
Let's do
Let's do the big thing first.
Okay.
So stick around. We're going to do the big thing first, and then everyone who's on here, we're going to do another spin to win. So first of all, we are going to tell you that we are picking a winner. See, it's winter.
Oh my gosh. Winner.
I need not as big of a caffeine tomorrow. I need a smaller one.
Yeah,
we have a winner. We have a winner from those of you that signed up on our VIP list. We have a winner.
Yep.
And they are going to win the new bestseller bundle.
The whole thing?
The whole thing. So our newest light board. Our newest light board with our dual grip cutting mat, with our tempered glass mat, with our glow tote, with our flex light. But there's a thing I forgot to say about the new light board.
Oh, and the magnet.
Yeah, the light
Magnetic.
board is has magnetic plates built into it. So check this out. So this is the thing that's so cool. So those of you that have seen our mini, there are magnetic plates built into the mini on the edges, on the corners. Watch this. So the magnets are, and you can find the magnets on our website. They're neodymium. Jack, how do you say that? I can never say it right. Neodymium, medium. I said it wrong anyway.
You're just really strong. Trust us.
Super, super strong. And they're made so that they point straight down so that they will hold through the board, through your cutting mat, through your fabric, all the way through. So it will hold your stuff in place. But check this out. They are not only on the edges like they are on the mini. They are on the middle, sides. They're on the bottom edges. They are on the middle. Where is that one? They're on the middle. They're on the middle. They're on the edges. They're on the corners. They're on the middle. They're on the middle. They're on the corners. They're everywhere. So you can hold just about any size project down. So I forgot to tell that again. Okay, we can't handle the anticipation. We need to say who won our
Switch your
best-
camera. There
best
you go.
bundle.
Okay.
There we go.
So we're going to give away this entire brand new bestseller bundle that has all of these amazing products in it. And this is, again, why I said you got to sign up for VIP. So if you didn't yet, maybe this will encourage you, because Sharon Denman of Portland, Oregon, you are our winner for the new bestseller bundle of from our VIP list. We'll be emailing you to get your information to do. But congratulations, Sharon. Congratulations. We're going to have new winners every day from the VIP list. My list is getting updated every day. So
every minute of every day. If you didn't sign up for the VIP yet, I'm just going to tell you, sign up for it, because we have 2 more days. And look how great this giveaway for day 1 was. Like, I mean, imagine. Not to
spoil anything, but
we're not trying to tell the secrets, but just imagine.
It gets better. Just trust me.
It might just get better, guys.
I haven't lied to you yet, because I mean, I told you that this was going to be a very educational event, and you guys have said your minds have been blown with all that you've learned today. I told you. You can trust me.
I told you so.
All right. All right, so congrats, Sharon, on winning that. Now, we're not done yet.
We're not done.
I feel like we're going to do a
spin to win.
Maybe we do 2 spin to wins. I mean, it's our first day. It's our first event, and I get to make the rules, right?
Yes. So, okay, there's a couple of questions. So Jill has a question. Do you have to be present to win tomorrow? Jill, if you sign up for our VIP list,
no,
you do not. For our spin to wins, yes, you do. We had a question from Laura about the cutting mat available on the dual grip cutting mat is not yet available on its own. It will be, but it is not yet. So
it is just with the new boards right now.
It's just with the new boards. So there is this. Okay.
We bring the new stuff out a little bit at a time. Just remember, you can catch the replay of this after our live end. So if you missed the beginning or any point, or you want to go back and rewatch all of these amazing tips that you've learned today, or you forgot to write down that code or the website or whatever, it'll all be recorded and it'll be posted as soon as our live ends. It'll be there for you to rewatch. Don't forget, we're coming back tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We have 3 more presenters lined up for you. We have more bundles and sales and deals and more prizes to give away. So again, just come hang out with us.
Just hang out with us, because then I don't have to work tomorrow either.
I know, this is literally the rest of my work week. For all the work that went into it, this is pretty great. Pretty great. I'm loving it.
Pretty great. This is
real quick update, because we had some questions. I showed these little mini clamps earlier when I was suggesting them during Rona's segment. And then someone said that they weren't on the website, and I messaged Melody and she problem solved. And they are now on the website. Like, y'all, we act fast. So you tell us something, we do our best to be responsive. So these are available on the website. So if you're adding stuff to cart, don't forget to throw a 2-pack of these in. So worth it with your discount code. I mean, you might as well. It's awesome. Okay.
Same mat time, same mat place. Jill, I love that.
Yes, Jill.
Yes.
All right. Now I did take off the flip and folds, and I replaced it.
Oh, would you break the rules with and replace it with?
I put, there's Swivel is on here twice now. The Swivel cutting mat that spins. And Flex Light is on here 3 times now.
All right.
All right, ready?
Let's do it. Spin it.
All right, someone's winning a Flex Light. For this one, now I want you to put the number 5 if you learned a lot of new things today.
Or anything.
Anything. But if you learn something new, put the number 5 in the chat, and we will pick a random winner to send a Flex Light, which, by the way, I have my Flex Light right here on my machine. I love this thing. It goes everywhere with me. I used this on the airplane when I was flying to and from Sydney on my recent trip to Australia, so I could see at night without waking up everybody else on the 16-hour flight. So I was like,
You're nicer than me. You're way nicer than me. I take my light board on the plane and do stuff on it and turn it on, and it's.
So my flight on the way back was more during the day, so I did use my light board then. But the red eye, no, I used it. This was pretty bright, and I had to ask the gentleman next to me. I was like, "Is this bothering you?" But they give you IMS. It's fine. They are fine.
Yeah, we also decided that we are using this Flex Light when I go see the Backstreet Boys in Vegas this summer.
Don't save your phone battery. Take your Flex Light. It'll last the whole concert. You can party on and still take all the videos and photos. All right.
All right. Let's pick a winner.
Number 5 is going to get a Flex Light. I'm scrolling through all of these, and Bonnie Kruger. Congratulations, Bonnie.
Yay, Bonnie. Bonnie, very exciting. Please, Bonnie, send me an email to Jack. I think my email address is on there. So my email address is melody with 2 E's, MELODEE @caterpillar.com. Send that to me. Please let me know what you won. I've been getting emails today, and thank you for everyone who's sending me the emails on our Spin to Win fun. But please let me know what you won. And Bethany's writing it all down, but
I don't have your mailing address and I don't have your email address.
We don't have any of that. So, but remind me what it is that you won. And
please.
Yes.
Please. All right.
Yes.
One more. Let's wrap up the day. Are you guys having a good time? I'm having the best time. This might be the most fun work
Hold
day
on 1 second. I think Terry's been mentioning that she's a little bit behind on our thing. Terry, if you're on, looks like you're on YouTube, make sure that your, what do they call that? That read bar across the bottom that shows where you are is all the way over to the right, and you'll be live. Like if you paused it at all during the day, or if you had a glitch or anything like that, it'll be a little bit behind. That happened to me earlier when I had to actually do some work and then catch back up to what we were doing. So make sure that little line, I don't know.
So you're watching in real time.
Make sure it's all the way over to the right. I don't know what that thing is called, but make sure it's all the way over to the right.
All right. I
let's
just shifted it over to see if we might get something different since it wants
one more spin.
Right, let's do it.
Okay. Oh.
Ooh. Someone's going to get a 2-pack mini clamps.
Yay!
All right. So this is for 2-pack mini clamps. So this time I want you to put the number 2 for the 2-pack in the chat if you're going to tune in tomorrow.
Yes.
Ew.
Or we understand you might have a life besides this, although you shouldn't. Put a number 2 in there too if you want to come tomorrow, because we all want to. I love this. Bethany, if this wouldn't make us all the way to the end of Loopy Loo, I would say we should do this every day, all the time, so that I don't have to do any of my other work. I know Bethany's going to kill me from Tennessee right now, but you don't get to, because it's bright there and it's cold here. So you don't get to be mad at me for that.
Right. So tomorrow we'll be back. If you are not following us on Instagram or Facebook, you probably don't know who is presenting tomorrow. But if you would like to know, go follow Caterpillar on Instagram and Facebook. We've posted it all there. Okay.
We have fun stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got 3 more presenters, one of which is launching a new quilt pattern tomorrow. It just happened to fall on the same day she was planning to launch it. So she's launching it with us. We've got an applique school that you guys were talking about applique in the chat today with our light boards, and she's going to make applique a breeze for you. She's a master at it. We have a nonprofit that you're going to hear from. It really will touch your heart. I am so excited for you to hear from these ladies. So we have some amazing things going on, but go follow us on social media so you can see who all is presenting, not only tomorrow, but Friday as well. You get a sneak peek. We are giving away a 2-pack of mini clamps.
And we'll both be back tomorrow too, guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best part.
We'll be here. Join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's 1:33. We're doing
We
pretty
didn't
good.
do so bad. We did all right. We did okay.
Proud of us. All right, I'm
proud of us
scrolling
too.
through the chat. I'm scrolling through the chat and stop. Linda Graham, congratulations.
Yay. Please send me an email to melody@caterpillar.com. Melody with 2 E's at caterpillar.com. Give me your mailing address and let me know, remind me what you won. And we will get your 2-pack of clamps shipped out. All of the prizes will go out next week after our event is over.
Yes.
And we're super excited, guys.
Melody's going to be shipping things left and right. We have done 5 spin to win giveaways today. Rona gave away a journal as well. And we gave away a fat quarter bundle from Poppy Cotton, and we gave away our new bestseller bundle. I mean, what is that?
What a day. What a day.
Like, that's a lot.
Guys, it's happening all again tomorrow. So make sure you go to caterpillar.com. We have a bunch of specials running on the website right now. We talked about it. The bestseller bundle with the brand new Premium 2 light board is on sale. Plus, you can use your coupon code MarchLive to get an additional 15% off. We have our special on our flip and fold mats.
By the way, look at that. I unboxed mine while we were learning.
All right.
I couldn't wait.
She can't wait. You can get both cutting mats, flip and fold. Buy the 48, get the mini 36 for half price. Put those in your cart. The discount will automatically apply, and then you can use your coupon code on top of that. Plus, guys, go check out all of our bundles. We have all kinds of bundles on sale. They're all on sale already, and then you can use your coupon code. So if this particular bundle isn't exactly what you want, we've got quilting bundles. We've got embroidery bundles. We have all product, all in bundles. We have all kinds of things. We have travel bundles. We have mini bundles. That they're all on sale always. They're all on sale right now. And then you can use your coupon codes on top. So do that. Get all of this
has been
stuff.
so fun. Thank you, guys.
Like, I kind of don't want it to end, but we're
I
gonna do it all again tomorrow.
I know, but they're gonna want to watch this back and take more notes and learn all the things. But people are just saying thank you. They've enjoyed it. They've been looking forward to this. They've already been sewing while they've been watching.
I love that.
So thank you so much. It's just someone said it's Black Friday in March.
I like that. Black Friday, March. I love it. Because it's
guys.
National Quilting Month, you guys. It's National Sewing and Quilting Month. So what better time to get some new stuff?
It is. Awesome.
Yep. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.